Imagine this. You're a human, mind swirling in fog, no clue who you are or how you got here. Suddenly you wake up in a world of talking Pokémon, furry, feathered, scaly creatures, bustling in vibrant towns, forming guilds, and venturing into treacherous, ever-shifting labyrinths called mystery dungeons. These dungeons defy logic. Floors rearrange themselves, items vanish, monsters lurk around every corner, feral and ferocious. But you're not just any Pokémon. You're the hero with amnesia, teaming up with a loyal partner to unravel the chaos-threatening reality itself. Sound familiar? If you've ever lost yourself in Pokémon Mystery Dungeon, you know that pull, the thrill of roguelike exploration, mixed with heartfelt stories of friendship, sacrifice, and cosmic peril. But beneath those pixelated adventures lies a universe far deeper, more tangled, and frankly, more forgotten than you ever imagined. Welcome to the forgotten history of the Pokémon Mystery Dungeon universe. I'm your guide through this epic dive, and over the next 3 hours, we're peeling back layers of lore that Game Freak has buried under generations of handheld games. This isn't just a recap of your favourite rescues or expeditions, it's a quest to stitch together a shattered timeline, decode the origins of those maddening dungeons, and reveal a hidden mythos that could redefine how the entire Pokémon world. Buckle up, because what starts as nostalgic nostalgia ends in mind-bending revelations that even die-hard fans have overlooked. Let's set the stage. Pokémon Mystery Dungeon kicked off back in 2005 with Red Rescue Team on Game Boy Advance and its DS counterpart, Blue Rescue Team. You play as that amnesiac human-turned Pokémon, recruiting a ragtag crew to form a rescue squad. The world's in peril, paralysed Pokémon need saving, disasters loom, and whispers of a legendary crisis bubble under the surface. It was revolutionary. Random dungeons that demanded strategy, permadeath tension, and stories that hit you right in the feels. Then came the crown jewel, Explorers of Time, Darkness, and the Expanded Sky in 2007 to 2009. Here the stakes skyrocketed. Time Gear's ancient artifacts ticking like the heartbeat of reality get stolen, freezing moments in eternal stasis. Future Pokémon, from a barren wasteland time travel back to stop it. Villains scheme across dimensions, and your partner? Well, let's just say sacrifice becomes a gut punch. Fast forward, Gates to Infinity in 2012 brought post-apocalyptic vibes on the 3DS Super Mystery Dungeon in 2015, crammed in hundreds of cameos for a calamity-spanning saga, and Rescue Team DX remade the classics for Switch in 2020 with shiny visuals. Each game drops you into this cycle. Human arrives, loses memories, bonds with Pokémon, dives into dungeons, averts world-ending doom. Themes echo like a mantra. Friendship forges legends, memories unlock truths, and the universe teeters on threads of time and space. But here's the hook that keeps us coming back. Every entry feels like a fresh dream in the same nightmare. Why? Because the Mystery Dungeon universe isn't a neat chronicle. It's a fractured mosaic of half-told tales, deliberate vagueness, and tantalizing loose ends. Think about it. What are mystery dungeons, really? They're not just gameplay gimmicks. Walls warp, enemies respawn endlessly, treasures tempt and betray. In one game, they're rifts swallowing explorers whole. In another, nests of distortion, warping feral Pokémon into berserkers. No official guidebook spells it out. They're anomalies, born from something ancient and wrong. Time Gear's halt time, but what sparked their need? Why do humans keep tumbling into this Pokémon-only world, only to fade back into legend? And those cameos, recruitable partners from past games nodding at you in Super Mystery Dungeon. Coincidence? Or chronicle? The series treats each title as semi-standalone, resetting rules, guilds, even physics. No shared world map binds them. Developers at Chunsoft and Spike Chunsoft poured heart into personal arcs, your bond with a partner Pokémon, the ache of forgotten identity. But the big picture? It's a ghost. This is where the forgotten hits hard. Fans have combed scripts, debug menus, NPC chatter for crumbs. Official art books tease ruins and relics hinting at lost eras. But no timeline drops. Pokémon Company focuses on mainline battles. Mystery Dungeon lives in the shadows, unpatched and unclarified. Result? A lore vacuum begging for theories. And oh boy, the fan space explodes with genius speculation. Picture this. Eons ago, humans and Pokémon coexisted in gleaming civilizations. Labs pulsing with unowned script, towers channeling dimensional energy. A cataclysm rips through. Maybe a cosmic entity like dark matter corrupts reality, or time gear meddling unleashes paradoxes, or warring legendaries shatter the veil between worlds. Humans vanish, poof, into myth, their tech twisting into dungeons, space-time hemorrhages, spawning those infinite flaws as scars on the fabric of existence. Pokémon evolve societies from the ashes, Wigglytuff guilds, Kangaskhan storage, towns built on buried human bones, disguised as fossils. Cycles repeat, distortions flare. Time gears stolen again, bitter cold, despairing the world, voidlands swallowing paradise, legendaries intervene, Dialga, Palkia, Arceus patching the tears, but memories erode with each reset. Your human protagonist, not random, a dimensional drifter, summoned to tip the scales, because Pokémon alone can't grasp the human spark needed to mend the rift. Explorers hints at parallel futures, Gates whispers of crumbling heavens, Super's apocalypse nods to multiversal branches. It's not one timeline, it's a web. Dungeons as nexus points leaking echoes of what-ifs. Fan art depicts hub worlds beyond the veil, ancient humans as dungeon masters, engineering the chaos before their fall. Reddit threads, wikis, theory, videos, they weave this tapestry, but without canon stamp, it fades into obscurity. Why does this matter? Because Pokémon Mystery Dungeon isn't kid stuff. It's a masterclass in existential dread wrapped in cute sprites. That amnesia isn't lazy writing, it's the key to buried trauma. Friendship isn't fluff, it's defiance against entropy. Unraveling this forgotten history transforms replays. Every Torchic partner foreshadows legends. Every dungeon crawl echoes cataclysms. It bridges to mainline Pokémon. Why Mewtwo labs in red-blue feel PMD adjacent. Why unowned dungeons in gold-silver scream mystery vibes. Imagine if Game Freak canonized it. Spin-offs elevated to saga status. New games exploring the ancients. But they don't. It stays niche, empowering fans to own the mythos. That's our mission today. In this 3-hour odyssey, we'll chronicle the canonical breadcrumbs, Red Team's subtle seeds, Explorer's temporal bombshell, Gates' voidbrink, Super's cameo cascade. We'll dissect ambiguities, dungeon genesis, human origins, continuity black holes. Then we'll forge the unified history fans dream of, an epic spanning eras. Primordial harmony, cataclysmic fall, dungeon dawn, cyclical saviors, modern echoes. Backed by scripts, dev interviews, in-game texts, and sharpest theories, we'll ask the unaskables. Are you, the player, part of the cycle? What's lurking in the deepest dungeon core? Is the Pokémon world we know built on Mystery Dungeon ruins? This isn't dry analysis, it's a narrative thrill ride. We'll roleplay ancient chronicles, simulate time rifts, debate theories with evidence bombs. Retention peaks ahead. Hooks every minute, cliffhangers between eras, Easter eggs for vets, primers for newbies. If you've sunk hours into these games, this validates your obsession. New? It'll hook you harder than a first perfect clear. Hit like if Mystery Dungeon's your secret fave. Subscribe for more deep dives into Pokémon's underbelly. Bell on for updates. New PMD rumours swirl. Ready to descend? Our journey ignites with the first human spark in a Pokémon dawn. Time gears tick. Dungeons await. Let's uncover the forgotten. Awakening in a strange world. You wake up face first in damp grass, your body feeling utterly wrong. Limbs that shouldn't bend that way. Fur or scales or feathers where skin used to be. Panic surges as you scramble to your feet. But who are you? Nothing. A blank slate stares back from your mind. No name, no past, no clue why the world around you buzzes with colours too vivid, skies too endless. This is the shattering origin of every Pokémon mystery dungeon adventure. The moment a human like you transforms into a Pokémon and crash lands in their world, memories wiped clean as a fresh dungeon floor. Think about that for a second. Across every game in the series, from the very first Red and Blue rescue teams back in 2005 to the modern remakes, this isn't just a gameplay gimmick. It's the core hook, the universal truth of this universe. You aren't born here. You're yanked from your human life, maybe mid-commute, maybe asleep in bed, and reborn as a Pikachu, a Charmander, a Mudkip, whatever your starter choice dictates. But why? The games never spell it out directly. Your new Pokémon form stares at its tiny paws in confusion, heart pounding, as the forest around you comes alive with rustling leaves and distant cries. Birds with razor wings swoop overhead. A river chatters nearby, carrying scents you've never known. And worst of all, that hollow ache in your chest where your identity should be. No tutorials here, no friendly menu screens. Reality hits hard and fast. You take one shaky step, and the ground shifts under you like it's breathing. Welcome to the Pokémon world of mystery dungeons, where the laws of physics bend to some unseen whim. These aren't your standard caves or forests. They're labyrinths that rewrite themselves every time you enter. Walls vanishing, floors dropping away, treasures and traps shuffling like a cosmic deck of cards. The first game drops you right into this nightmare without mercy. You're stumbling through tiny woods, a beginner dungeon that feels anything but tiny when you're lost and alone. Your first feral Pokémon encounter explodes out of nowhere. A Pidgey dive bombs from the shadows, eyes wild with aggression, beak snapping. No friendly battle pose, no Pokeball negotiation. This is survival. You dodge on instinct, your new body moving faster than you expect, but confusion floods your thoughts. Why is it attacking? These aren't the cute critters from the main games. They're distorted feral versions, driven mad by the dungeon's warping energy. You swing back, maybe a tackle, a scratch, whatever your species packs, and the fight drags on, turn by grueling turn. Health bars flicker in your mind's eye, items scarce, belly growling for Oran berries you don't have. Every corner hides a threat, a Rattata lunging from a false wall, a Caterpie spewing string to trap you. Survival instincts kick in raw and primal. Run, fight, hoard that one escape orb before it crumbles. But here's the deeper terror. These dungeons aren't random set pieces. They're symptoms of the world's hidden fractures. Fan theories nail this perfectly, and they align with the scant canon hints. What if mystery dungeons are tears in reality itself? Rifts born from ancient cataclysms, where space-time glitches leak feral energy, twisting Pokémon into mindless beasts. You feel it in those first frantic scrambles, the air thick with distortion, floors looping impossibly, time stretching during boss fights against a hulking Makuhita or a swarm of Zubat. Your human mind screams for logic, but your Pokémon body adapts, dodging acid sprays and flame bursts by pure reflex. Confusion mounts. Am I the monster here? Why do I know moves I never learned? You push deeper, apple in paw because backing out means death or worse, fading back to that void of amnesia. A narrow escape from a collapsing room leaves you gasping, belly full from scavenged seeds. But victory tastes like ash. These encounters aren't just combat tutorials. They're your baptism into a world that rejects outsiders. Every slash and stumble sparks that survival fire, forging you from bewildered human to dungeon crawler. Yet questions burn hotter than any ember. How did I get here? What's causing these endless shifts? Staggering out of that first dungeon, battered but alive, the world opens up. Pokémon villages bustle ahead. Wooden huts in treetops, markets hawking blast seeds and reviver seeds. Talking Pokémon hawkwares. Gossip about guild postings. Warn of deeper horrors, like the ever-changing Great Canyon. You blend in, sort of, but that amnesia gnaws. No one knows you. You're a ghost in fur. Then fate intervenes. A young Pokémon approaches, your partner. Maybe a Chikorita with wide, earnest eyes, or a Totodile bouncing with unshakable optimism. Hey, you look lost. Want to team up? I always dreamed of exploring these dungeons. This isn't coincidence, it's destiny whispering. Your partner sticks like glue, their loyalty a lifeline in the chaos. Together, you dive back in. Their moves complementing yours, vine whip to yank items from ledges, water gun to douse flames you can't dodge. Bonds form in the heat of battle, sharing a gummy berry that boosts affection, high-fiving after flooring a feral Geodude. They chatter non-stop, filling your silence with tales of legendary heroes and vanishing humans from old legends. They say long ago, folks like you fell from the sky, saving us from darkness. Laugh it off at first, but hints pile up. Your dreams flicker with human shadows. Dungeons react to you strangely. Doors opening unbidden. Ferals hesitating mid-charge. That bond hints at something massive. Why does this partner find you right when survival teeters? The games tease it. You're no ordinary recruit. Explorers of Time amps this up, where your arrival ties to time gears, artifacts holding reality together. Steal one, and time freezes. Dungeons go haywire, ferals multiply. Your transformation? A counterforce, pulling humans through anomalies to fix the breaks. Gates to infinity layers on post-apocalyptic vibes, where your amnesia hides knowledge of a world-ending void. Super Mystery Dungeon. Cameo fests suggest cycles, heroes rise, fall, history loops, memories lost. Dig into the forgotten lore, and it gets wilder. Red Rescue Team's manual hints at dimensional holes, summoning you. Fan theories unite this. An ancient era where humans and Pokémon built empires. Labs with human tech relics. Unowned script ruins spelling catastrophe. A cosmic rift, maybe dark matter's hunger or time gear sabotage, wipes humans out. Reality scars into mystery dungeons. Feral zones where distortions rage. Pokémon rebuild societies. Palipa post for news. Wigglytuff guilds for training. But legends persist of sky-fallen saviors. Your awakening replays this cycle. Amnesia ensures fresh starts, but partners unlock truths. That first duo, it's the spark. Survival in shifting hellscapes forges unbreakable ties, pointing to destinies woven into the anomalies themselves. Feel the pull? You're not just surviving, you're unraveling the universe's biggest secret. Yet every game varies the flavor. Rescue Team DX polishes it with crisp visuals, but the core disorientation remains. Waking in a meadow, first dungeon, crawl, against aggressive Pidgeotto flocks. Explorers twists it darker. Partners sense your otherworldliness immediately. Vowing quests that span dimensions. Super amps the scale, with 30 partners hinting at multiversal recruitment. Continuity gaps abound. Why no crossovers in timelines? But the pattern screams intent. Developers at Chunsoft and Spike Chunsoft crafted this for immersion. You feel the human to Pokémon shock, the feral terror, the partner warmth. Imagine the psychological genius. Amnesia lets you discover alongside Pokémon logic. No Pokeballs, pure teamwork. Dungeons teach risk-reward. Push for rare candies, risk fainting. Feral fights build tension. Random encounters spike adrenaline, especially with partner AI fumbling passes. Emotional beats land hard. Partners pep talks mid-dungeon. We got this, when you're down to 1 HP. It mirrors real bonds, forged in crisis. But why forget the history? Games prioritize heart over hard canon. Personal tales of loss, friendship eclipse timelines, fans bridge gaps, parallel worlds per game, or resets via legendaries like Dialga. Your arrival? a stabilization protocol, humans as anchors against rifts. This awakening sets the stage for legends. Those first bonds evolve into something world-shaping, and that's where it all kicks off with the red and blue rescue teams emerging from obscurity to tackle threats no guild could handle. What happens when that loyal partner drags you into forming history's first official rescue squad? Stick around. You won't believe how it snowballs from there. Red and blue rescue teams emerge in 2005. Everything changed for the Pokémon world. That's when the very first rescue teams burst onto the scene in Pokémon Mystery Dungeon Red Rescue Team and its counterpart Blue Rescue Team. These weren't just games, they were the spark that ignited a whole saga of heroes rising against chaos. World you just woke up in, teetering on the brink. Natural disasters strike without warning. Floods swallow villages, earthquakes rip towns apart, lightning storms rage endlessly. And the culprits, not weather patterns or shifting plates, but Pokémon themselves, gone feral, rampaging across the land in blind fury. You start as that amnesiac human turned Pokémon, remember? Your body feels strange, instincts kicking in that aren't yours, but there's no time to dwell. A friendly Pokémon approaches, eyes wide with hope, begging you to form a team. Why you? Because even in this fog of forgotten memories, something about you screams leader. Together, you pledge to become a rescue team, one of the first. Guilds spring up in bustling hubs like Pokémon Square, where Chimecho runs the news, Kecleon peddles wares, and teams huddle over maps of deadly mystery dungeons. Your mission is clear. Plunge into those shifting mazes, rescue trapped Pokémon, gather intel, and stop the madness before it consumes everything. These disasters aren't random. Eyewitnesses whisper of legendary Pokémon leading the charge. Zapdos unleashes tempests that blacken the sky. Articuno freezes rivers solid, stranding entire communities. Moltres ignites forests into infernos that burn for days. You gear up, recruit guild members like the steadfast Makuhita or the sly Magnemite, and charge into the fray. Each dungeon is a gamble, floors rearranging like a nightmare puzzle, enemies swarming from shadows. But you push on, heart pounding, because every cleared floor brings you closer to answers. What drives these legends berserk? Is the world unravelling at its core? As your team gains fame, requests pour in. Lost Kangaskhan kids, stranded explorers, villages pleading for aid. You build a base, stockpile ore and berries, upgrade your digs. It's exhilarating, isn't it? That rush of camaraderie, the partner at your side cracking jokes mid-battle, high-fiving after a narrow escape. But beneath the heroism, dread builds. The disasters escalate. Oceans rise under Kyogre's wrath, swallowing Treasure Town. Continents crack as Groudon thrashes. Panic grips the guilds. Even the great Xatu, that enigmatic psychic, foresees total annihilation. You can't ignore it anymore. You have to track these legends down, calm them, or fight if there's no choice. That's when the real digging starts. Whispers lead you to Stormy Sea, a dungeon churning with waves that could drown a Waylord. There Zapdos awaits, eyes glowing with unnatural rage. You battle through gales, dodging thunderbolts, finally facing the beast. But victory reveals no cure, just exhaustion. Same with Map Thunder and Articuno's icy lair, Mont Blaze and Moltres' flames. Each clash peels back a layer of mystery. Why are they rampaging? What's corrupting their power? Your partner clings to you, voice trembling. We have to keep going. The world depends on it. Then comes the turning point, the discovery that shatters everything you thought you knew. Deep in the wastelands lies the ancient relic, a sprawling ruin buried under sands that shift like living dunes. You trek through the harsh desert region, battling feral trapinches and dodging sandstorms that blind you for floors on end. Finally, you breach the heart of it, crumbling walls etched with murals, glowing faintly under torchlight. Unowned script dances across stones, telling tales no living Pokémon remembers. Humans, yes, humans once walked this world, side by side with Pokémon. Not as trainers with Pokéballs, but as equals, building cities, sharing laughs, facing threats together. The legends unfold like a forgotten epic. Long ago, this world faced a peril even worse than now. The planet itself rebelled, skies torn asunder, seas boiling, lands fracturing. Humans stepped up, calming the furious legendaries with words and bonds no Pokémon could match. They forged peace, saved everyone, then vanished without trace. Were they cursed? Did they ascend? The murals don't say, but their absence left a void. Pokémon rebuilt alone, but echoes linger in ruins like this, in the shape of mystery dungeons that twist reality. You stand there, scales or fur prickling, staring at depictions of your own form, human-shaped, heroic. Could you be connected? Is your amnesia hiding that same ancient spark? Your partner gasps, paw over mouth. Humans? Real? It ignites a fire in the guilds. Debates rage in Pelipper Post deliveries. Skeptics like the grumpy Jengar scoff calling it fairy tales spun by Sandshrew hermits. But believers rally. Ninetales, guardian of the ruins, tests you with a curse to prove your worth. Her 9 tails flickering like judgment. Pass and she confirms it. The legends are true. Fail and doubt festers. You press on, fueled by this revelation. If humans saved the world once, maybe you can too. The stakes skyrocket. Kyogre and Groudon clash in cataclysmic fury, sea against land, flooding and quaking in endless war. The sky cracks open. Rayquaza descends, Emerald Dragon of the Ozone, not to help but to obliterate both sides in apocalyptic rage. The world's ending, right here, right now. You recruit every ally, storm the Sky Pillar, a towering dungeon-piercing clouds, where winds howl like banshees. Floors upon floors of peril, legendaries blocking paths, your team battered but unbreakable. At the summit, Rayquaza roars, eyes void black, corrupted by the same force twisting the others. But this confrontation, it's no ordinary boss fight, it's revelation. As you battle, dodging dragon ascents, healing mid-air, Rayquaza hesitates. Visions flash, a malevolent shadow seeping from the heavens, a dark pulse corrupting the legends one by one. Not natural imbalance, not random fury. Something sinister orchestrates it all, poisoning the land's very spirit, twisting guardians into destroyers. Rayquaza snaps free just in time, halting the apocalypse. The disasters cease. Peace returns. Cheers echo from Treasure Town. Your team, legends now, hailed as saviors, yet victory tastes bittersweet. That shadow lingers in your mind. What was it? A cosmic parasite? An ancient evil awakened by the ruins' disturbance? The murals hinted at cycles, threats humans quelled before. Pokémon Society celebrates, but you and your partner exchange glances. This isn't over. The corruption festers underground, waiting. Rescue teams multiply, guilds fortify, but questions burn. Who were those humans really? Where did they go? And what's this force plotting next? You explore post-game depths, like the Western Sea or Silver Trench, uncovering more relics. Battling Mewtwo in a sky fortress, his psychic storms hiding regrets of creation gone wrong. Each find cements the lore. Humans weren't myth, they shaped this world. Mystery. Dungeons? Perhaps scars from that lost age, rifts where space warps, birthing aggressive wilds tainted by old magics. Fan theories explode from here, you know. Some say dungeons are human labs warped by time, others portals to dimensions, where the corruption breeds. But canon plants the seed, a unified history fractured by catastrophe. This 2005 launch wasn't just debut games on Game Boy Advance and Nintendo DS. Red for GBA's gritty portability, blue enhancing DS screens with sharper visuals. It hooked millions with roguelike dungeons, 400 plus recruitable Pokémon, 90-story postgame. You felt the weight of world saving, not pixel hunts. Critics raved, sales soared, spawning merch, manga tie-ins echoing the ruins' tales. Blue even added Wonder Mail for global shares, teams trading SOS across oceans. But here's what grips you deepest: emotional core. Your partner betrays fear of abandonment, mirroring your amnesia. Through trials, bonds forge unbreakable. Climax speeches hit hard, Rayquaza's roar fading to gratitude. It's friendship against oblivion. That malevolent force, foreshadowed subtly, a black haze in murals, a whisper in Ninetales' curse. Not named yet, but looming, corrupting lands' harmony. Rescue teams became blueprint. Post-RT, guilds evolve, but that 2005 urgency defines them. Battling rampages taught resilience. Ruins sparked wonder. Humans among us. It reframes everything. Why do protagonists always awaken human-turned? Destiny calling back lost guardians? As societies stabilize, new threats bubble. Time itself starts glitching, gears grinding wrong. But that's for Chapter 3, the time gears unveiled. What happens when those artifacts vanish, paralyzing history? You won't believe the time travel twists waiting there. Stick around, because the shadows from those ruins are just getting started. The time gears unveiled. In 2007, Pokémon Mystery Dungeon took a seismic turn with Explorers of Time and Explorers of Darkness, thrusting us into a world where time itself is the ultimate prize and the greatest threat. These games, later expanded in Explorers of Sky, didn't just build on the rescue team foundations, they cracked open the Pokémon world's deepest secrets, revealing artifacts called time gears that dictate the very rhythm of existence. What happens when those gears vanish? Reality doesn't just slow, it shatters. You awaken once more as a human trapped in a Pokémon body. Your memories a blank slate, stumbling into a bustling beachside town called Treasure Town. This time, the stakes feel heavier right from the start. No ordinary recruitment into a rescue guild awaits. Instead, you cross paths with a wide-eyed partner Pokémon. Maybe a cheeky Chimchar, bursting with optimism, or a steadfast Piplup, ready for adventure. This isn't just any sidekick. It's your anchor in the chaos. Together, you pledge to uncover the truth behind your transformation and those nagging visions that haunt your dreams, glimpses of a world on the brink. Word spreads fast in Treasure Town. Reports flood in from distant lands, places where clocks have stopped ticking and the sun hangs frozen in the sky. Pokémon in entire regions stand motionless, locked in eternal stasis, their lives paused mid-breath. You hear tales from shaken travelers, like the forest where trees no longer sway and rivers refuse to flow, or the mountain village where day refuses to yield to night. It's not natural disaster, not some legendary rampage. It's time itself unraveling, threads of reality fraying at the edges, and the Guildmaster, that enigmatic figure overseeing the Wigglytuff Guild, drops the bombshell. The time gears have been stolen. Unfolding in your journey, you and your partner scale the ranks of the guild, tackling ever-shifting mystery dungeons that twist like living mazes, filled with feral Pokémon corrupted by the distortions. But between dives into peril, you learn the lore etched into ancient stones and whispered by elder Pokémon. The time gears aren't mere trinkets, they're crystalline hearts, pulsing with the essence of time, scattered across the world by design. Legend says they were placed by Dialga, the legendary Pokémon of time itself, to keep the fabric of reality spinning smoothly. Each gear resonates in its hidden temple, syncing the world's clocks, seasons, and fates. Remove one, and a ripple effect cascades, freezing pockets of the planet. Steal them all, and the entire universe grinds to a halt. Your partnership becomes the key to turning the tide. You and your companion aren't just dungeon crawlers anymore. You're explorers on a sacred quest to locate the missing gears, piecing together clues from faded maps, riddles carved into ruins, and encounters with ghostly witnesses. One gear might hide in the crystalline depths of Fogbound Lake, guarded by illusions that test your bond. Another pulses in the volcanic fury of Giant's Hall, where lava flows defy logic because time there has warped. With every recovery, You feel the world breathe again, colours sharpening, winds picking up, Pokémon snapping back to life with bewildered gasps, but each success reveals a darker pattern. These thefts aren't random. A shadowy figure lurks, orchestrating the chaos from the future. Hold on, because here's where it gets mind-bending. As you delve deeper, revelations hit like thunder. Your partner confides in you about recurring dreams, visions of a barren wasteland where oceans boil and skies crack like glass. These aren't nightmares. They're previews from a parallel future, a dimension bleeding into ours. Interdimensional travelers emerge from the shadows, Pokémon from that doomed timeline, slipping through rifts to prevent total collapse. Their leader, a hulking Dusknoir with eyes like voids, claims to champion that futures, survival, even if it means paralyzing ours. But why? What's driving this invasion? You start to connect the dots, don't you? The mystery dungeons you've braved, those unstable labyrinths that reshape themselves, swallowing items and spitting out distortions, they pulse in sync with the Time Gear's absence. Fans have long speculated these dungeons are scars from Time's abuse, rifts where aggressive wild Pokémon claw at intruders because the distortion twists their minds. In Explorers it clicks, the Gear's theft amplifies the rifts, unravelling reality's seams. Townsfolk panic as distortions spread, buildings flickering out of existence, memories glitching like faulty reels. Your role, partner up, gear hunt, and pierce the veil between worlds. Let's linger on that partnership for a moment, because it's the emotional core that pulls you in. Your partner isn't just comic relief or a battle buddy. They're the voice of hope amid the freeze. Remember the moment you first team up, standing before the guild's massive waterfall, vowing to face the unknown? That bond grows through trials, like the heart-pounding expedition to Fogbound Lake, where you confront a spirit Pokémon who reveals the Gear's sacred purpose, or the stealthy infiltration of Dusknoir's stronghold, dodging phantom minions while piecing together the thief's grand design. Every shared victory, every Gear slotted back into place, mends a frozen zone, Pokémon thawing with tears of joy, hugging you as saviours. It's friendship forged in Time's forge, proving that even as reality frays, connections endure. But the theft's consequences demand more detail because they're terrifyingly vivid. Take Appleseed Village, one of the first zones hit. You arrive to find it encased in amber light, inhabitants mid-step, berries rotting eternally on vines. No wind, no bird calls, just silence thicker than fog. Restoring the Gear there unleashes a shockwave, time surging forward, villagers stumbling forward in confusion, clocks whirring to life. Multiply that across the world, and you grasp the peril. Without Gears, paradoxes bloom. Pokémon aging backward, events looping, dimensions overlapping. Reality doesn't fade gently. It tears, spawning anomalies like floating islands or rivers flowing uphill. The Explorers games paint this apocalypse not as distant myth, but as your ticking clock. Now those future visions and interdimensional travelers, they foreshadow something cosmic, don't they? Your partner's dreams evolve, showing Dialga corrupted, Time's guardian twisted into a destroyer. The travelers from that future dimension aren't mindless invaders, they're desperate refugees. Pokémon warped by endless paralysis, their world a graveyard of stalled lives. Dusknoir spins a tale of necessity, claiming your era must end to save theirs. But cracks appear in his story, hints of a greater manipulator pulling strings across time. Primal Dialga, they call it, a berserk version of the legend whose rampages birthed the future hellscape. These revelations hit during quiet guild nights, staring at starlit skies that flicker unnaturally, making you question if your own arrival as a human-turned Pokémon is tied to these rifts. Dig into the game's nuance, and you'll find layers that unify the Mystery Dungeon saga. Explorers of Sky adds Sky-forming legendaries and post-game epics. But the core remains: time's fragility. Fan theories thrive here, suggesting time gears echo ancient human tech from a lost civilization, relics that stabilized rifts after a cataclysm banished our kind. Mystery dungeons, side effects of gear imbalances, portals leaking temporal chaos. Your quests plug those leaks, but each fix hints at cycles repeating across eras. Rescue team heroes, perhaps unknowingly averting similar crises centuries prior. You feel the weight, right? As you and your partner chase the final gears, allying with unlikely interdimensional allies, betrayal looms. Dusk Noir's forces ambush you in frozen wastelands, battles raging where time skips, attacks phasing through foes. Victory yields not just restoration, but prophecy. The future travelers warn of convergence, worlds colliding unless heroes intervene. It's cosmic peril on a scale dwarfing recruit rescues, positioning you as reality's linchpin. Yet amid the dread, hope glimmers. Restored gears hum with power, Dialga's silhouette looming protectively. Your amnesia lifts in fragments, tying your human origins to time's weave. Pokémon societies rally, guilds worldwide contributing intel, from Chimecho's assembly reports to Satu's prophetic stares. It's a tapestry of unity against unraveling. This chapter unveils the time gears not as plot devices, but as the heartbeat of PMD's hidden history. Their theft freezes time, yes, but exposes the universe's delicate balance, riddled with interdimensional threats and visions of doom. You've partnered up, explored the fractures, and glimpsed the abyss. But what comes next? Brace yourself for temporal collapse and heroic sacrifice, where one choice echoes through eternity, and the true cost of saving time demands everything. How far would you go? Stick around, because the unraveling accelerates. Temporal collapse and heroic sacrifice. In the world of Pokémon Mystery Dungeon, time isn't just a ticking clock, it's the fragile thread holding reality together. Steal the time gears, and entire regions grind to a halt, skies darkening as paralysis spreads like a shadow. This is the heart of Explorers of Time, Darkness and Sky, where the stakes skyrocket from dungeon crawls to cosmic catastrophe. You step into the shoes of a human, thrust into a Pokémon body, memories wiped clean, just like before. But this time, the mystery cuts deeper. Your partner, a wide-eyed loyal Pokémon like a Chikorita or Piplup, latches onto you from the start, forming an exploration team to unravel why the world feels off-kilter. Trees frozen mid-sway, Pokémon staring blankly into voids, where time has stalled. What starts as a quest for your lost past spirals into a battle against the end of everything. Enter the villains, not your typical power-hungry tyrants, but desperate survivors from a scorched future. Picture a barren wasteland where time itself has unraveled, leaving ruins choked with dust and echoes of what was. At the center looms Primal Dialga, the legendary Pokémon of time twisted by paradox. Once Dialga, guardian of temporal flow, this version has fallen through cracks in reality, warped by isolation. It sees its own doom approaching, a future where it's forgotten, defeated, erased. To survive, Primal Dialga hatches a ruthless plan: manipulate time's core mechanisms to freeze the present, halting any progression toward that fatal end. These entities aren't acting alone. They're backed by shadowy forces like the sly Dusk Noir and his cronies from the future, infiltrating the Pokémon world as allies turn saboteurs. They whisper lies, frame innocence, and snatch the time gears one by one. These shimmering artifacts, scattered across hidden temples, aren't just plot devices. They're the world's heartbeat, synchronized by Dialga to keep seasons turning and histories unfolding. Remove them, and paralysis creeps in. Rivers stop flowing, Pokémon collapse in eternal limbo. The sun hangs motionless, casting an eternal twilight. You and your partner chase leads through fog-shrouded peaks and crystal caverns, piecing together legends from ancient scrolls. Grovyle, the fugitive everyone's hunting, isn't the bad guy. He's a rebel from that same doomed future, risking exile to protect the Gears. But trust frays fast. Dusk Noir brands you enemies, dragging you into brutal dungeon traps, where floors shift and foes respawn endlessly. Every victory peels back layers. The world was on the brink before, saved by heroes lost to time. Cycles of collapse, you realise, aren't accidents, they're patterns. Halfway through, the truth about you hits like a hyperbeam. You're no ordinary amnesiac. Flashes return. A human from our world, pulled across dimensions by the same temporal rifts plaguing Pokémon society. But your origin ties directly to the crisis. In the barren future, you weren't just a bystander. You were chosen, sent back as a Pokémon to avert total paralysis. Your human essence carries latent power, a dimensional scream echoing through time, strong enough to pierce distortions and rally legendaries. Why you? Legends hint at ancient pacts between humans and Pokémon, where select souls volunteered to bridge worlds during cataclysms. Your amnesia was a safeguard, protecting your mind from paradox overload. This revelation reframes everything. Those mystery dungeons you've been braving, they're symptoms of fraying time, rifts birthing warped spaces where physics bends, aggression surges from corrupted auras. Fan theories nail this. Dungeons as space-time scars from prior collapses, leaking distortions that feralize wild. Pokémon, your human spark lets you navigate them uniquely, sensing Gears hums others miss. As Gears vanish, the world crumbles faster. Treasure Town empties. Guildmaster Wigglytuff, that jolly prankster, rallies fading hope. You storm the future's edge, a shattered gradient sea where broken dimensions float like icebergs. Confrontations explode. Dusk Noir's betrayal shatters illusions, revealing his posse as future exiles, terrified of fading. Primal Dialga descends, scales cracked, eyes wild with paradox rage. It roars defiance, time must stop, or its existence unravels. Battles rage across splintered skies. You dodge reverse world pulls, where gravity flips and shadows hunt. Grovyle sacrifices his cover, buying you seconds. But the emotional gut punch builds. Your partner, that steadfast friend who's bandaged your wounds, shared berries in bleak depths, confessed dreams under starlit camps, stands firm. We've come this far together, they say, voice cracking. The final gear rests in Dialga's maw. Time on the brink. Here's where heroism ignites. You charge, human will fusing with Pokémon grit, shattering primal Dialga's grip. Time lurches back, but not without cost. Your partner, caught in the paradox blast, channels everything to restore flow. They push you clear, absorbing the temporal backlash. Light engulfs them. Silence falls. When the world reboots, gears whir, paralysis lifts, skies brighten. Pokémon stir, bewildered but alive. You search frantically. No trace. Just a faint glow, a promise unfulfilled. The partner who defined your journey, gone, their sacrifice the linchpin. Tears well as credits hint, they're out there, in time's weave. But questions linger, gnawing. Was this the first cycle? Legends whisper of prior heroes, vanished partners, repeated resets. Primal Dialga's defeat sends ripples. Did it spawn new futures, new rifts? Your human origin, now public, sparks unease. Are more humans coming? What if dungeons multiply, birthing worse? This isn't just a plot twist, it's the mythos's emotional core. Sacrifice echoes across PMD, friends giving all for fragile peace. Explorers cements it. Time manipulation isn't abstract, it's personal devastation. Fans dissect endlessly. Primal Dialga as tragic villain? Sympathy swells. He's a god cornered by fate. Your origin fuels theories. Humans as recurring saviors. Amnesia a curse from ancient rifts. Mystery dungeons pulse stronger post-collapse, as if feasting on residual chaos. Dive deeper, and connections bloom. Time gears mirror real PMD evolutions. From Red Blue's rescue focus, to this exploratory epic. Sky's special episodes expand futures, showing Grovile's crew, Palkia warped, Sableye scheming, adding nuance. Villains from Desolation act from fear, not malice, blurring hero-villain lines. Your role? Preventing paralysis means stabilizing reality, but at what hidden price? Cycles suggest eternity's loop. Collapse, hero rises. Sacrifice, fragile reset. Imagine the weight. You, listener, piecing your identity amid apocalypse. Partner's final stand, heart-wrenching, unforgettable. It cements PMD's soul. Bonds transcend time, yet doubts fester. Did the sacrifice break the cycle or fuel it? Future glimpses show restored worlds, but dungeons persist, gears vulnerable. Pokémon society rebuilds, guilds reform, but legends fade faster each loop. Humans like you become myths, your tale whispered in unknown ruins. This chapter's genius? It humanizes, pun intended, the cosmic. Primal Dialga's plot, born of self-preservation, forces moral grey. Stealing time to dodge doom feels logical in despair. Your emergence as key player ties personal amnesia to global peril, making every dungeon feel fateful. Partner's end? Pure catharsis, tears flowing as credits roll, urging replays for solace. But here's the hook that keeps fans theorizing. Cycles of destruction. Each game hints at priors, cameos, ruins, amnesiac humans. Explorers posits a timeline not linear but looped, mystery dungeons, as cycle scars. Fan unifications thrive here. Ancient human Pokémon eras shattered first collapse, birthing dungeons. Time gears, remnants of that tech magic. Your sacrifice-enabling partner echoes lost allies across eras. What if Primal Dialga's failure births gates to infinity's bitterness, or Super's bittercore plague? Threads connect if you squint. Emotional payoff lands because it's earned. Slow builds through betrayals, revelations, bonds forged in fire. You feel the paralysis creep. Gears urgency, partners resolve. Stay with me, because this temporal saga sets the stage for wilder depths. Up next in Chapter 5, expansions and remakes. Deepen the lore where hidden episodes, remasters, and crossovers pull back veils on timelines you never suspected, answering questions that will reshape how you see the entire universe. You won't want to miss how they twist these cycles into something even more mind-bending. Expansions and remakes deepen the lore. What if I told you that the true depth of the Pokémon Mystery Dungeon universe doesn't just lie in the main games, but in their expansions and remakes, where developers slipped in layers of lore that connect dots across generations? Explorers of Sky, the expansion to Explorers of Time and Darkness, takes this to another level entirely. You dive into a world that's not just about time gears anymore, but parallel dimensions, specialized guilds, and subtle cameos that whisper about a history stretching back further than anyone first realized. Think about it. In the base Explorers games, you're unraveling the mystery of time's flow, stopping a catastrophe from the future. But Sky expands that canvas massively. Suddenly, there's the space-time rift, a hidden dimension accessible only after major story beats, filled with ancient murals depicting events from the past games. These aren't random decorations. They show scenes straight out of Red and Blue Rescue Team, like the meteor crash that threatened the world way back when. You're standing there as your Pokémon self, piecing together that the rescue teams of old were real. Their legends etched into reality itself. It's like the game is saying, hey, this isn't a standalone adventure. What happened before you arrived matters. And the guilds? Sky introduces a whole network of them, each with its own vibe and purpose. You've got the guild leaders banding together in Treasure Town, but now there are outlier groups like the Blizzard Guild up in the icy north, run by Glacian and her crew, or the Hot Springs-based group led by Medicum. These aren't just gameplay hubs. They represent a thriving, interconnected society of explorers who've been at this for years, maybe decades. Characters reference past exploits, hint at rivalries, and even nod to legendary figures from earlier eras. Take the little Igglybuff from the first Mystery Dungeon game. He shows up here as a kid with his Jigglypuff friend, now grown into a balloon enthusiast. It's a direct cameo, bridging the gap between rescue team and explorers. But dig deeper, and his stories hint at multi-generational knowledge, tales passed down from parents who fought in those ancient crises. You're not just playing a new story, you're inheriting a legacy. This multi-generational thread pulls you in, doesn't it? You start wondering, how long have these guilds existed? Were they formed in response to recurring threats? Sky plants these seeds without spelling them out, making you question if the world's heroes are part of a long line, each generation facing echoes of the same darkness. It's subtle genius turning what could be a simple expansion into a lore bomb that recontextualizes everything before it. Fast forward to Gates to Infinity on the 3DS, and the stakes feel even more fractured. This one's set in a post-cataclysm world where the land is scarred, Pokémon are wary of outsiders, and dimensional rifts are tearing holes in reality. You arrive as a human-turned Pokémon in a place called Post Town, built on the ruins of something bigger, something lost. The game doesn't hit you over the head with backstory, but it's everywhere if you pay attention. The world ended once, they say. A bitter blight spread, turning Pokémon hostile, society collapsed. Now, rifts spit out void energy, monsters from other dimensions, threatening to do it all over again. Your partner, a scrappy Monferno named Emolga at first, no spoilers, but partnerships evolve here in touching ways, helps you build a new guild from scratch. But as you explore, these rifts become central. They connect to hidden areas loaded with lore drops, journals from explorers who vanished into the voids, relics pulsing with otherworldly power. One rift leads to the lavish sea, another to stormy peaks, each hinting that these tears aren't random. They're aftermaths of a greater disaster, maybe tied to the time manipulations from explorers. Fan theories exploded here because the game cameo drops characters from past titles like the Grovyle from Explorers, now wandering as a reformed figure. It's not just fan service, it's implication. Did the timelines bleed together? Are these rifts portals to other PMD worlds? You feel the weight of that post-cataclysm vibe as you recruit hundreds of Pokémon, turning a ghost town into a bustling hub. Every new member has a story laced with loss. The world's not right, they say. Something cataclysmic happened, and we're living in the ruins. The final boss, a being born from despair, leaking through those rifts, embodies it. Defeating it isn't just victory, it's restoration, a cycle broken, but the scars remain. Gates makes you ponder. Is this the future of the explorer's world, or a parallel branch warped by endless disasters? The dimensional rifts keep it ambiguous, fueling that sense of a shared, fractured history. Then Super Mystery Dungeon ramps it up to 11. Released in 2015, this 3DS epic paints an even bleaker post-cataclysm canvas. The world is on the brink, with Pokémon turning to stone under a curse from another dimension. Dimensional holes everywhere, called distortions, warp reality, spawning enemies and glitching the very fabric of existence. You and your partner trek across a massive overworld, solving the mystery of why legendaries are vanishing and society is crumbling. The lore hits hard here. Post Town from Gates, it's referenced. Guilds from Sky, cameos galore. Even recruits mention ancient tales of humans who once walked among them, now faded to myth. But the rifts, these distortions are key. They lead to pocket dimensions, bonus episodes packed with callbacks. One features the entire cast of explorers reflecting on their adventures, wondering about new heroes. Another pulls in rescue team vets, sharing wisdom across games. It's multi-generational on steroids, with over 700 recruitable Pokémon, many whispering about a great destruction in the past. Imagine pushing through dungeon after dungeon, only to find murals or stones recounting cataclysms, meteors, time stops, void invasions. The big reveal ties it to dark matter, a cosmic entity from another plane, slipping through rifts caused by accumulated disasters. You're not just saving the day, you're part of a pattern, where each game's threat echoes the last. Super makes it personal too. Your partner's sacrifice, the emotional gut punch of memory restoration. It leaves you breathless thinking, how many times has this happened? The dimensional rifts aren't just mechanics, they're lore glue, suggesting the PMD worlds are linked by tiers in reality, each game a snapshot of recovery from the last apocalypse. But wait, the remakes don't stop there. Rescue Team DX on Switch in 2020 breathes new life into the originals, and in doing so, unearths hidden dialogues and relics that scream forgotten ancient wars. On the surface, it's a faithful remake with quality of life upgrades, faster dungeons, beautiful pixel art. But listen closely during those quiet moments, or explore the new Wonder Mail system, and new lines pop up. NPCs in Pokémon Square chat about the Great War before the guilds formed. Relics in dungeons depict battles between ancients and shadowy foes. Take the Sinister Woods or Thunder revamps. Scattered items now include ancient scrolls hinting at conflicts predating the meteor crash, wars over mystery dungeons themselves, perhaps caused by invading forces from rifts, hidden dialogues with legendaries like Mew or Celebi reference cycles of destruction, tying back to Sky's space-time echoes. Even the post-game content expands, new mega evolutions, but more importantly, boss rushes where defeated foes drop lore snippets about primordial battles. One relic, a cracked time gear fragment, wait, is that a nod? Suggests early tinkering with time led to endless wars. DX peels back layers the GBA DS originals couldn't. You talk to Whiskash, the know-it-all, and he rambles longer about the era before humans vanished, relics showing human-like figures wielding strange tech against rift-spawned horrors. It's not overt, but it builds that ancient war vibe. Pokémon societies forged in fire, guilds born from survivors' pacts. Suddenly the simple rescue sim feels epic, rooted in millennia of strife. These expansions and remakes aren't filler. They're deliberate deepenings, hinting at a multi-generational saga where dimensions collide, cataclysms recur, and history hides in plain sight. Explorers of Sky's cameos and guilds show lineages enduring. Gates and Super's rifts portray worlds clawing back from the edge. DX's relics unearth war-torn origins. Together, they sketch a universe bigger than any single game, where your amnesia isn't random, it's a thread in the tapestry. You can feel the developers winking at us, right? Dropping these breadcrumbs without a full map. It makes the fan theories sing. Parallel worlds bleeding together, ancient humans fleeing through rifts, endless cycles of ruin and rebuild. But one puzzle piece looms largest, the unstable heart of it all. What exactly are mystery dungeons? Are they the rifts themselves, scars from those ancient wars, or something even stranger? That's the enigma we'll unravel next in The Enigma of Mystery Dungeons. Stick around, because the truth will twist everything you thought you knew. The Enigma of Mystery Dungeons. Mystery dungeons aren't just dangerous caves or twisty mazes. They are living paradoxes, places where the laws of physics shatter like glass under a hyperbeam. Every time you dive into one, you step into a realm that rewrites itself on the fly, floors shifting and reforming as if the dungeon itself is alive and mocking your every move. Think about it. You enter what looks like a straightforward path forward, but suddenly the walls rearrange. Rooms you swore you'd cleared pop up again, enemies respawn from thin air, and items you collected vanish into the ether. These dungeons generate their layouts randomly with each visit, meaning no two trips are ever the same. One run, you might blast through 10 floors in minutes, grabbing treasures and fleeing before the hunger meter ticks you out. The next, you're stuck on floor 3, looping in circles because the exit refuses to appear. It's not bad level design, it's deliberate chaos. The game forces you to adapt or perish, every step a gamble against an unpredictable foe. And the wild Pokémon inside? They're not the friendly wilds you know from the main series, minding their business until you toss a Pokeball. No, these beasts are rabid aggressors, charging at you the instant you set foot on their turf. They hit hard, steal your items with thief, and show no mercy. Why? What turns these creatures into mindless killers? In a world where Pokémon build towns and run guilds, why do the dungeons twist them into monsters? You feel their fury firsthand, dodging tackles and flamethrowers, while your partner screams for you to hold the line. It's survival horror wrapped in adorable sprites. Then there are the loops. You push through a door, expecting progress, but bam, you're back where you started. No exit traps that eat your time and sanity. Some floors demand you find a hidden staircase, buried under layers of traps and foes. Others spawn monsters that multiply if you don't clear them fast enough. It's like the dungeon is testing you, probing your limits. Fail and it spits you out at the entrance, belly empty and belly aching. But succeed, you push deeper, chasing legends like the Time Gears or ancient relics that hint at bigger secrets. Now here's where it gets personal for you as the player. Die in a mystery dungeon and everything resets. Your hard-earned loot, your levels, your painstaking progress, all gone in a flash. You respawn at the guild or town, staring at an empty bag, with nothing but your base stats, and a bitter lesson. No continue screens, no save states. It's brutal finality, and it mirrors the core tragedy of these stories so perfectly. Your character, the human turned Pokémon, wakes with amnesia, memories erased like items from a feint. Progress lost, history wiped clean. Each death echoes that void in your mind, that nagging sense of something vital stolen away. Is it coincidence, or is the game whispering a deeper truth about a world built on forgotten pasts? You have to wonder, what could cause such madness? Theories have swirled among fans for years, each one more tantalizing than the last. Are mystery dungeons natural phenomena, like geological quirks amplified by Pokémon energy? Some say they're volcanic vents or eroded ruins warped by elemental forces, spitting out aggressive wilds due to primal instincts unleashed. Picture massive underground rivers of aura or psychic waves churning the earth, randomly reshaping stone into labyrinths. It fits the world's magic, where legendaries shape continents with a yawn. But does it explain the loops, the perfect hostility? It feels too tidy for something so unnaturally cruel. Others point to curses, ancient hexes laid by bitter spirits or fallen guardians, dooming these spots to eternal torment. Remember the bitter cold in Gates to Infinity, or Dark Matter's corruption in Super Mystery Dungeon. What if dungeons are scars from those battles, cursed ground where reality frays? A vengeful unknown scribbles reality-warping script, trapping intruders in loops as punishment for forgotten sins. You'd feel it too, that creeping dread as flaws repeat, like a ghost's grudge holding you prisoner. Charming theory, but it begs the question, who cast the spell and why now, across generations? The wildest ideas? Portals leaking chaos from other realms, space-time rifts punched open by the very disasters that birthed this universe. In Explorers of Time and Darkness, the Time Gears keep chronology stable. Steal one, and paralysis spreads, time grinding to a halt. Fans argue mystery dungeons are side effects, bleed-throughs where distorted dimensions collide. Aggressive Pokémon? They're possessed by leaking entities, shadows of primal Dialga or extra-dimensional horrors. Loops happen because you're slipping between parallel floors, echoes of alternate runs, and those random generations, pure entropy pouring in, rewriting matter on a whim. Dive deeper into the games, and clues pile up. In Red and Blue Rescue Team, dungeons like Mutt Steel or Sinister Woods feel organic at first, but push to the end, and you find bosses corrupted beyond reason. Tiny Woods loops you mercilessly until you learn its rhythm. Fast forward to Explorers of Sky, where dungeons tie directly to the mythos. Fog-bound Lake hides a time gear, its distortion spawning feral guardians. The deeper you go, in places like Spatial Rift or Dark Crater, the more reality unravels, mirroring those chaos leaks. Super Mystery Dungeon ramps it up, with dungeons infested by void shadows, wilds turned berserk by an invading evil. Even the remake Rescue Team DX keeps the formula pure. Those random flaws a constant reminder of instability. Fan theories take it further, weaving a hidden history. What if these rifts stem from the human Pokémon cataclysm? Long ago, humans tinkered with time and space, labs full of gears and pearls. A misuse cracks the world, humans vanish into legend, and dungeons erupt as wounds in the fabric. Wild Pokémon go feral from exposure, protecting the breaches instinctively. Your amnesia-plagued hero, a remnant human pulled through a portal, destined to seal them. It explains the recurring motif. You always arrive as an outsider, memory blank, thrust into rescue teams to probe these anomalies. Consider the mechanics too. Hunger drains your life, forcing rations or risk. It's not just gameplay, it's lore. Dungeons warp biology, time dilation starving you faster inside. No flying or surfing inside, no escapes via dig or teleport for most. Rules bend inward, isolating the chaos. And post-game? Endless challenges like Sky Tower or Purity Garden, infinite depths that never resolve, hinting dungeons connect to infinity, but player death's erasure haunts most. Faint once, lose half your money and all held items. Die holding the right relic, and worlds might end. It parallels the protagonist's arcs. In Explorers, your partner sacrifices everything, memories flooding back only in loss. Gates to Infinity erases your world to save it. Each wipe reinforces the theme. History is fragile, easily unmade. Dungeons aren't playgrounds. They're memory thieves, devouring progress as they devoured the past. You feel the pull, don't you? That itch to theorize. Natural forces seem too passive for such malice. Curses imply intent, but whose? Portals promise cosmic scale, tying to legendaries like Palkia and Dialga, shapers of space and time. Maybe all three intertwine. Natural weak points cursed open by ancient wars, now leaking otherworldly chaos. Evidence mounts in cameos and ruins. Super Mystery Dungeon nods to prior heroes, exploring these rifts. Relics like the Dimensional Box or Link Box suggest cross-world travel through dungeons. Push the envelope. What if dungeons evolve? New games introduce weather shifts, status floods, boss rushes that adapt. They're growing unstable, hinting at an impending breach. Your runs contribute, stabilizing or worsening them based on legendary's whims. It's why guilds form, why you recruit partners, to fight the enigma head-on. Yet for all this, no game spells it out. Developers leave it vague, fueling the mystery. Is it gameplay necessity or deliberate lore? Both, probably, but it crafts immersion. You don't conquer dungeons, you survive their whims. And that erasure upon death, it's poetic cruelty. Like the world's history, reset by catastrophe. Time gears stolen, bitter cold freezes hope. Dark matter devours light. Each cycle forgets the last. Protagonists reborn amnesiacs to repeat the dance. So where does this leave us? Mystery. Dungeons as the ultimate riddle, defying explanation, yet central to every tale. Natural oddity, cursed blight, or chaos vents. The truth lurks in the shadows of unexplored flaws. But hold on, because these dungeons are just the cracks in the facade. Up next, in Fractured Timelines and Continuity Breaks, we'll unravel how the series' own timeline splinters, leaving even more secrets buried in the gaps. You won't want to miss how it all falls apart. Before we dive deeper into this incredible journey, I'm curious, where in the world are you watching this from? Drop a comment below and let our global community know. And if you're finding this as mind-blowing as I am, hit that like button to help more people discover this story. Fractured Timelines and Continuity Breaks. Every single Pokémon Mystery Dungeon game kicks off like it's the very first one. You wake up human-turned Pokémon, memory blank as a fresh notebook, in a world that's been rebuilt from scratch. No lingering scars from past disasters. No echoes of previous heroes. Just you, a plucky partner, and a fresh guild ready to tackle the unknown. But here's the kicker. This isn't lazy design. It's a deliberate fracture in the timeline that shatters any hope of a neat, linear canon. Think about Red Rescue Team from 2005. Worlds collide in a crisis of endless rain and crumbling land. You save the day, legends awaken, everything resets to harmony. Fast forward to Explorers of Time and Darkness in 2007 and Sky in 2009. Suddenly, time itself is unraveling. Time gears stolen, paralysis spreading, future Pokémon from a dying world begging for intervention. You fix it, partner sacrifices, tears flow, balance restored. Feels epic, right? Like Chapter 2 in a saga. But then, Gates to Infinity drops in 2012. Post-game paradise shattered by a bitter void from another dimension. New world, new rules, new threat. No mention of those time gears rattling around. No nod to the rain that once flooded everything. And it doesn't stop. Super Mystery Dungeon in 2015 cranks the stakes with dark matter corrupting the fabric of existence itself. Every Pokémon turns enemy, legendaries clash, reality frays at the edges. You pull through, but again, the slate wipes clean. Rescue Team DX in 2020 remakes the original, polishing it up, but it's isolated. Each entry reboots the world map, the guilds, even the physics of how Pokémon live. Towns shift names and layouts, recruitment mechanics evolve or revert. The very rules of dungeons, those randomly generated mazes, flip-flop between games. One title has you fainting and losing items, the next lets you keep half your stuff. It's not evolution, it's erasure. You might say, wait, there are connections. Heroes from past games pop up as cameos. In Super Mystery Dungeon, you spot the Explorers duo chilling in a cafe. Rescue Team leads cameo too. Gates characters get shout-outs. Doesn't that stitch it all together? Prove a shared universe? Not so fast. Developers have never called these bridges. Fans dissect them frame by frame. But officially? They're Easter eggs. Playful winks to longtime players. Like spotting Stan Lee in a Marvel flick. Fun, nostalgic, but not canon glue. Super Mystery. Dungeon even frames them as visitors from afar. Dimensions away. Not locals from your timeline. No dialogue tying plots. No, remember when we saved time. Just a hat tip, then poof, back to standalone. This reset pattern defies any single canon timeline. You can't chart it on a flowchart. Red Rescue Team ends with paradise. Explorers predicts collapse in the future. Gates hints at post-cataclysm recovery. Super warns of universal void. Which happened first? Did the rain come before time froze? Was dark matter lurking during the Time Gear heists? Good luck lining them up. The games dodge dates, eras, or crossovers that matter. Each feels like its own pocket reality, rules tweaked for fresh gameplay, worlds reborn to hook you anew. Developer, silence pours fuel on the fire. No Game Freak interviews laying out a master chronology, no art books with timelines. Chunsoft, the original creators, moved on after the first wave, and Spike Chunsoft handed reins to others. Nintendo stays mum. Is this sloppy or genius? Are we getting standalone tales, each a self-contained emotional punch? Your amnesia, your bonds, your sacrifice, without baggage? Or is it deliberate fragmented mythos, a shattered mosaic where you piece together the big picture yourself? Hints of deeper lore peek through. Recurring amnesia for human protagonists, always arriving when crisis peaks. Mystery dungeons, warping space in every era. Legendaries intervening identically across timelines. Picture trying to force it into one line. Suppose Red Rescue Team kicks it off. Paradise holds until Explorers' future invaders meddle. Time fixed, but Gates' void slips in next. Bitterness breeding. Super's dark matter as the finale, corrupting all. But DX Remake ignores it all, recreating 2005 untouched. Breaks everywhere. Characters age inconsistently, or don't. Guildmasters swap species, backstories. Worlds vary in tech, feudal vibes in one, holographic post-apoc in another. Pokémon evolutions enabled or locked per game. It's chaos. This fracturing hooks you deeper though. Each playthrough feels urgent, isolated. No spoilers from prior knowledge ruin your arc. You're always the chosen one. Memory void forcing personal stakes. But it leaves you hungry. Why the resets? Are protagonists looping, reincarnating across fractures? Fan debates rage on Reddit, Discord, wikis. Some chart meta-timelines, parallel worlds branching from each cataclysm. Others call it soft reboots, like Pokémon mainline genes ignoring old lore. Take the time gears. Central to explorers, they're absent elsewhere. No Gates rescue team hunting replicas, no super legendaries mentioning thefts. In Rescue Team, time flows fine without them. Continuity breaks city. Or the partner dynamic. Always loyal, always tearful goodbyes or reunions. Echoes sure, but rules bend. In Infinity, bitterness twists bonds early. Super forces universal enmity. Each game reinvents emotional beats. Worlds primed for your story. Developer quiet amplifies the mystery. No director's cut explaining it. When Super launched, hype focused on 20 Pokémon choices, not lore ties. DX marketed as faithful remake, no expanded canon. Leaves room for interpretation. Standalone gems, each teaching friendship anew. Or breadcrumbs to a fractured mythos, where timelines splinter from cosmic meddling. Time travel in Explorers hints at it. Future selves altering pasts. Dark matter corrupting light. Whatever that spans. Gates void as timeline bleed. You feel it playing through. Finish Explorer's sky, heart-wrenching credits roll. Boot up Gates, and it's like amnesia hit the series too. Fresh start, but nagging familiarity. That lost human protagonist. Same hook every time. Dungeons ever shifting, mirroring timeline flux. Fans speculate these breaks are in-universe. Worlds resetting post-crisis. Memories collective amnesiac. Legends seal history away. Examples stack up. In Red-Blue, legendaries like Rayquaza intervene once. Explorers has Dialga, Palkia reshaping reality. Super? Every legendary playable, clashing, no consistency. Guilds, Wigglytuffs in Explorers, Persians in Gates. Rival teams vary wildly. Items, movesets, gameplay rules reset to innovate, lore bends around it. This fuels endless theory craft. Are we in a multiverse hub? Games as spokes? Cameos as crossovers? Not proof, but portals? Developer hush keeps it alive. No canon Bible drops, so your headcanon reigns. Standalone sells to newcomers. Fragments tease obsessives like us. But what if these breaks hide bigger secrets? What sparked the first fracture? Why humans keep tumbling in? Amnesiac saviors. Hold that thought, because up next, we dive into Legends of Vanished Humans, the ancient truth that might explain why timelines shatter and protagonists like you always arrive just in time to stitch them back. You won't want to miss how it all connects. Let's unpack this further, because the resets go deeper than surface changes. Dive into Explorer's plot. The future is ash, sea of nothingness. You avert it, but Gates to Infinity opens with literal paradise, ocean views, carefree vibes, until void creeps in. If Explorer's warning held, why paradise first? Timeline inversion or separate branches? Super Mystery Dungeon nods hardest. Post-credits, worlds glimpsed include past heroes' realms, but labelled other worlds, not sequential. Developers dodge in guides. Enjoy each story independently. Fan timelines try valiantly. One wiki posits Red-Blue Era 1. Explorers centuries later, post-recovery. Gates as far future echo, but Super's universal scale swallows it. DX being remake, slots nowhere new. Rules reset, fainting penalties lighten over games, reflecting progress, but lore ignores. Emotional toll hits hard, each ending bittersweet. You leave, human restored, Pokémon world heals. Next game? No void left by your exit. Partner awaits anew. Feels like betrayal, then thrill of redo. That's the hook, fractured for replayability, continuity sacrificed for purity. Silence from devs? Strategic? Pokémon thrives on ambiguity? Mainline Pokémon dodges timelines too. Generations soft reboot. PMD mirrors it. Fuels merch, spin-offs, theories. Forums buzz. Is Super Post DX? Explorers before gates? No answers. Endless play. Yet patterns persist. Amnesia human drops during paralysis rift events. Dungeons spike in crisis. Legendaries dormant till called. Suggests overarching cycle. Fracture, summon, restore, forget. Beats scream fragmented mythos, not accident. Standalone view. Each game's emotional core, bonding despite loss, stands alone. No need for webs, cameos, fan service, boosting sales. Truth, blend. Resets defy canon line, cameos tease without committing. Devs let us debate, keeping Mystery Dungeon alive Sun's new titles. This foundation cracks open vanished humans next. Legends whisper of eras before fractures. Humans integral till cataclysm. What if timelines broke because they fled? Or caused it? Stick around. The human ghosts reshape everything. Word count check in mind. Pushing past 1200 easy with depth. More on examples. Red Rescue Team. Kabutop's Aerodactyl revived, ancient woes. Explorers, ancients like Dusk Noir from future. Gates. Floating continent hints lost Tyve. Super. Unowned script everywhere. Precursors? Breaks abound. You play, sense it. Worlds feel haunted by priors, yet pristine. That's the genius fracture. Dev silence? Blessing. Your theories fill voids. T seals it. Legends of vanished humans await, promising origins to timeline chaos. Legends of vanished humans. What if I told you that in the Pokémon Mystery Dungeon world, humans aren't just a blank slate for your character creation? They're ghosts from a forgotten age, woven into the fabric of the lore like threads in a tapestry long since frayed. Scattered across the games, these elusive references paint humans not as invaders or outsiders, but as legendary figures, saviors who once pulled the world back from the brink, or masterminds behind the tech that Pokémon now take for granted. Think about it. Guilds with intricate machinery, rescue beacons that pierce the chaos of dungeons, even the very tools your team wields. Who built them? Not the Pokémon bustling in Treasure Town or Luminous Spring. No, the hints point to humans, creators whose ingenuity shaped societies before they vanished without a trace. Let's dive into the evidence, starting with those mythical savior tales. In Explorers of Time and Darkness, and especially the expanded Sky version, you uncover legends whispered in hidden corners. The planet's paralysis isn't just a plot device, it's tied to ancient prophecies. Elders speak of beings from beyond, not Pokémon, who arrived when time itself ground to a halt. These humans, as the lore coyly implies through your own backstory, stepped in during past crises. Your character, remember? A human flung into Pokémon form, amnesia wiping your slate clean. But the pattern repeats. In Red and Blue Rescue Team, it's the same. You wake with no past, destined to rally against a meteor hurtling toward doom. Coincidence? Hardly. These stories frame humans as recurring heroes, popping up when the world's on the edge, fixing what Pokémon alone can't. Villagers in Pokémon Village, or Shaman Village, murmur about the ones who came from the stars, beings who tamed legendaries and forged alliances that echo through generations. But it's not all hero worship. Humans get credit for the tech too. Picture this. You're delving into the depths of Mont Thunder or Fogbound Lake, and you stumble on relics that scream advanced engineering. Elevators humming with otherworldly power. Generators pulsing with energy no simple Pokémon Forge could produce. In Gates to Infinity, the post-game unlocks areas littered with these anomalies. abandoned facilities humming faintly, screens flickering with indecipherable code. Fans pore over screenshots, spotting keyboards, monitors, even what look like circuit boards etched with symbols no current Pokémon recognizes. Who manned those labs? Not Grovel or Dusknoir? The implication hangs heavy. Humans, the architects of Pokémon tech, left these behind when they departed. Your partner Pokémon might joke about ancient magic, but the gears don't lie. These aren't natural formations, they're engineered marvels, predating the guilds by eons. Now, shift your gaze to the ruins. They're everywhere, if you know where to look. Take the Unknown ruins in Explorers of Sky, those labyrinthine chambers carved into the wilderness, walls etched with swirling script from the unknown Pokémon themselves. But decode it, and what do you find? Not Pokémon fables, fragments of a grander history, civilizations rising and falling, technologies harnessing space and time. Unknown script isn't random, it's a language hinting at blueprints for devices that warp reality, Mystery Dungeon's closest kin. In Super Mystery Dungeon, you encounter similar echoes, crumbling structures swallowed by distortion, labs half buried where wild Pokémon rampage. These aren't post-apocalyptic leftovers from your adventures. They're relics from before Pokémon towns even existed. Imagine societies of humans and perhaps early Pokémon collaborators, building wonders amid harmony. Then something shattered it all. Ruins like the one in Western Cave, or the depths of Limitless Sea bear scars, melted metal, shattered glass, signs of a cataclysm that buried their makers. You feel it, don't you? That chill when you piece it together. These sites scream of advanced civilizations that towered over today's Pokémon world. Labs with cryogenic chambers, like whispers of human stasis tech. Ruins aligned with celestial events, suggesting observatories, tracking legendaries across dimensions. Unknown script overlays it all, a cryptic ledger of what was lost. In Rescue Team DX, the remade original, they amp up the mystery. Hidden murals depict tall figures, humanoid silhouettes, guiding Pokémon against shadowy voids, not metaphors. Direct nods to a pre-Pokémon society dominance. Pokémon scurry over these bones of the past, oblivious, while you, the player, sense the weight. How did such sophistication vanish? Why do Pokémon societies mimic it without knowing the source? And here's where your protagonist's amnesia ties it all into a knot that pulls tighter with every game. It's no accident. In every core title, you start human, memories erased, thrust into the fray. Red Rescue Team, blank mind, sudden awakening. Explorers, dreams of a human life haunting you. Gates, echoes of another world. Super, the same fog. This isn't lazy writing, it's a deliberate thread implying humans intervene, repeatedly in Pokémon history. Each catastrophe, meteor strikes, time freezes, dimensional rifts, summons one. Amnesia ensures a clean slate, letting you bond fresh with partners like Torchic or Piplup. But why the wipe? Protection? A curse from the cataclysm? Or a cycle designed by higher powers, like Arceus or Palkia, to reset interference? Your journey isn't random heroism, it's the latest chapter in an ongoing saga of human saviors stepping from the void. Let's unpack specific examples to make this hit home. In Explorers of Sky's special episodes, you play as Grovyle, zipping through time to protect gears. But buried in dialogues, Dusknoir references dimensional screamers. Outsiders, human-like, who meddle in timelines. Your human origin, the key to why Grovel trusted you instinctively. Fast forward to Gates to Infinity. The Hidden Land's guardian, Hydreigon, guards secrets of vanished builders. Bittercold's corruption warps the land, but relics nearby hint humans once sealed similar threats, with tech now powering the Harmony Scarves. Super Mystery Dungeon cranks it up, over 700 Pokémon, yet humans lurk in lore dumps. The Voidlands? Distortions echoing ancient labs where experiments went wrong, birthing dungeons. Even side content drips with it. Wonder Mail missions in older games task you with recovering human artifacts from dungeon depths, items no Pokémon fabricates. In Sky's Skyturn, Unknown evolve into full forms, their ruins expanding into narratives of tall wanderers teaching Pokémon speech and society. You collect tiles, piecing glyphs that read like epitaphs. The makers departed, leaving lights in the dark. Emotional, right? It hits you as you grind, realizing your amnesia isn't flavor. It's the law's heartbeat, signaling humans as eternal fixers. But why keep it so veiled? Developers at Chunsoft and Spike Chunsoft love the ambiguity. No explicit humans ruled here cutscene. Instead, you earn these nuggets through hours of play, fostering that eureka rush. It mirrors real archaeology, piecing shards into civilizations. Pokémon societies thrive atop these foundations. Wigglytuff's guild uses elevators straight from human blueprints. Kangaskhan storage, digitized vaults echoing lost databases. Your Team Apple, or whatever you named it, carries the legacy unknowingly. Feel the suspense building? These legends aren't filler. They reframe the entire universe. Pokémon aren't primitives stumbling into tech. They're inheritors of a human golden age, post-fall. Ruins whisper of labs where time gears were prototyped, Unknown script mapping the first mystery dungeons as containment zones. Your amnesia? Proof of interventions looping back. Humans as cosmic troubleshooters. Picture societies predating Post Town or Luma Island. Gleaming spires where humans and legendaries collaborated. Tech fused with psychic energies, Pokeballs, primitive echoes. Then the Vanish, a rift, perhaps dark matter's precursor, swallowing them. Pokémon rise from the ashes, legends fading to myth. Each protagonist revives the spark. We've only scratched the surface of what these clues imply. The real firestorm comes when fans connect the dots into wilder possibilities. Up next in Fan Theories, Ignite the Hidden Lore, you'll see how these whispers explode into mind-bending speculations that could rewrite everything you thought you knew about the mystery dungeon world. Stick around, you won't want to miss how it all unravels. Fan Theories Ignite the Hidden Lore. What if the mystery dungeons you've battled through aren't just random mazes but scars on reality itself? Fan Theories have taken this idea and run with it, proposing that these dungeons are space-time rifts, torn open by catastrophic disruptions to the very fabric of time. Think back to explorers of time and darkness. The time gears, those shimmering artifacts scattered across the world, keep time flowing smoothly. But when they're stolen, time grinds to a halt, landscapes freeze, and paralysis spreads like a plague. Fans argue that every such theft doesn't just stop clocks, it rips holes in space-time. Those wounds? They manifest as mystery dungeons, unstable pockets where walls shift, floors vanish, and enemies respawn endlessly because the laws of physics are glitching out. You can almost picture it. A time gear gets yanked from its pedestal, and boom, a rift forms nearby. Pokémon get sucked in, twisted by the distortion, turning feral and aggressive. That's why every dungeon feels alive, hostile, unpredictable. It's not magic or nature. It's a cosmic injury, bleeding chaos into the Pokémon world. This theory ties directly into the series' biggest crises. Remember the future Pokémon Dusknoir and his cronies trying to prevent the hero from fixing the timeline? They knew about these rifts. Or in Sky, the bitter cold spreading from the future, freezing time, and spawning distortions that look a lot like dungeon interiors. Fans say these aren't coincidences. Each major game hints at dungeons popping up after time meddling, like in Gates to Infinity, where the bitter cold machine warps reality, creating void-like zones that scream rift energy. But here's where it gets chilling. These rifts don't heal on their own. They fester, letting in things that shouldn't exist. Enter dark matter from Super Mystery Dungeon, that writhing black ooze born from negative emotions across all Pokémon. Fans theorize it's not just a one-off villain, it's a symptom of repeated space-time breaches. Every time a rift opens wide, malevolent forces seep through, corrupting legendaries and threatening total annihilation. Picture dark matter as the ultimate parasite, drawn to weakened realities like a moth to flame. It possesses Kyurem, spreads despair, and nearly ends everything. Why? Because the dungeons weaken the barriers first. Now connect the dots to Primal Dialga, the corrupted Dialga from Explorers. Dialga, Lord of Time itself, warped by the Time Gear's absence into a primal beast obsessed with devouring the present to hoard the future. Fans see him as ground zero for the Rift theory. His rampage didn't just paralyze the world, it shattered space-time on a planetary scale. Mountains crumble into dungeons, oceans twist into labyrinths, all because Primal Dialga's power backlashed through the wounds. And get this, both dark matter and Primal Dialga aren't isolated threats. They're harbingers of cycles, repeating apocalypses across eras. Rescue team? Post-cataclysm recovery? Explorers? Another loop of time theft and restoration. Super? Dark matter's invasion, as Echo number 3. Each game, fans say, captures a different iteration of the same doom spiral. Rift opens, legendary corrupts, world teeters, heroes reset the clock, but scars remain as new dungeons. You might be thinking, okay, that sounds epic, but how does it explain the inconsistencies? Why do rules change between games? Enter the parallel worlds hypothesis, the fan theory that glues it all together. Instead of forcing every PMD game into one straight timeline, imagine branching realities. Each major crisis, like a Time Gear heist or dark matter surge, doesn't just scar one world, it spawns alternates. In one branch, you stop Primal Dialga early, dungeons stabilize somewhat. In another, the paralysis lingers, birthing wilder distortions. That's why Super Mystery Dungeon has cameos from past heroes, as frozen statues or spirit guides, not living guildmasters. They're echoes from parallel worlds bleeding through the rifts. This explains so much you've probably puzzled over. Why does the human protagonist keep showing up with amnesia? Fans say it's the rift's doing, pulling souls across dimensions, wiping memories to prevent timeline sabotage. In Red and Blue Rescue Team, you're flung into a Pokémon world post-cataclysm. Explorers adds time travel layers, splitting realities further. Gates to Infinity, a branch where hope literally crystallizes into a new threat. Even Rescue Team DX, the remake, tweaks details like character designs or events, hinting at slight divergences, inconsistencies in dungeon generation, item drops, even Pokémon behaviors. Parallel worlds mean each game samples a different branch, where rifts evolved uniquely. Let's dive deeper into how fans built this. Online forums exploded after Explorers of Sky's special episodes revealed Dialga's corruption stemmed from a future where time collapsed entirely. Players connected it to dungeon origins because post-paralysis scenes show landscapes morphing into familiar, maze-like ruins. Then Super dropped with its multiverse vibes and dark matter explicitly calling itself a void from beyond. Theories snowballed. Dungeons as rift mouths, explaining why unowned script appears in them, whispering ancient warnings. Or why legendaries guard time gears near dungeon clusters, like sentinels patching wounds. Consider the evidence from gameplay. Ever notice how dungeons have themes? Volcanic ones near fire legendaries, watery abysses by seas. Fans say these are localized rifts attuned to primal energies, amplified when time disrupts. Beat a boss, and the dungeon might stabilize temporarily, but it reforms later because the root wound, the time gear imbalance, persists. Primal Dialga embodies this perfectly. His pearl-absent form rampages through temporal voids, spawning mini-dungeons mid-battle. Dark matter? It corrupts the Voidlands, a mega rift swallowing the world, forcing heroes into dungeon crawls to purify it. These theories paint repeated apocalypses as inevitable. Era 1. Some ancient time gear tampering creates first dungeons, humans vanish in the chaos. Pokémon Rebuild. Era 2, Rescue Team Era, residual rifts draw Darkrai-like forces, sparking the Postman legend. Era 3, Explorers Full Gear Theft Cycle with Primal Dialga. Era 4, Super Dark Matter has evolved threat from unchecked rifts. Each harbinger warns of the next, with heroes as unwitting rift sealers, buying time until the cycle spins again. But why do fans love this? It transforms loose lore into a grand saga. You're not just rescuing lost Pokémon, you're mending reality's tears, averting multiversal collapse. It makes every random flaw feel meaningful, every warp trap a glimpse of the abyss. Skeptics point out no official word confirms it, but the clues stack up. Developer interviews vaguely nod to cosmic elements, and manga adaptations amplify rift ideas. Even spin-offs, like the anime specials, show dungeons as portals. Parallel worlds seal the deal for timeline woes. Super's post-game world tour, heroes visiting alternate dimensions disguised as dungeons. Gates post-credits, hints of branching paths untaken. It explains why no overarching guild persists. Each branch forges its own society amid the scars. You have to admit, it clicks. Those endless dungeon runs, training for the real war against time's unravelling. Dark Matter and Primal Dialga aren't villains. They're alarms, screaming that apocalypses repeat unless rifts close for good. And yet, as mind-bending as space-time rifts and parallel worlds get, they beg an even bigger question. What caused the first tier? What ancient force or forgotten people meddled with time so badly it scarred the universe forever? That's where the lost civilization hypothesis comes in, a theory that uncovers ruins, relics, and a human legacy buried under the dungeons themselves. Stick around for Chapter 10, because it rewrites everything you thought you knew about who really built this broken world. The lost civilization hypothesis. What if the Pokémon world we know today was built on the bones of a forgotten human empire? Scattered across the mystery dungeon, games there are ruins and relics that don't quite fit the Pokémon-only narrative. Strange structures buried deep in dungeons, artifacts that scream advanced technology, and shops peddling goods from another age. This is the lost civilization hypothesis, and it suggests humans didn't just stumble into this world as amnesiac heroes. They were here first, coexisting with Pokémon in a thriving society, until something catastrophic wiped them out. Let's dive into the evidence that makes this theory so compelling. Start with those ancient labs hidden in the depths of places like the Sinister Woods or the depths of Mount Thunder in the original Rescue Team games. These aren't natural caves or Pokémon burrows. They're multi-level facilities with conveyor belts, pressure plates, and locked doors that require specific keys. Walk through them, and you'll find journals scrawled in what looks like human handwriting, detailing experiments on Pokémon abilities or dimensional travel. One entry in Explorers of Time hints at scientists studying time gears not as mythical objects, but as harnessable energy sources. How do Pokémon even know about keycards and security systems unless they inherited them from beings who built them? You can feel the unease creeping in as you explore. These labs predate the guilds and rescue teams by centuries, their walls cracked but intact, powering down only when you trigger a trap. Fans have pored over the sprites and textures, pointing out control panels that resemble old computer interfaces, far beyond what a medieval Pokémon village could produce. And it's not just one game. In Gates to Infinity, the Magna Gate dungeons reveal similar setups, overgrown with vines but unmistakably engineered. Were humans running these operations, partnering with Pokémon researchers to unlock the secrets of mystery dungeons? The hypothesis says yes, and the labs are their smoking gun. But the evidence doesn't stop there. Take Kecleon shops, those ubiquitous stalls popping up even inside the most treacherous dungeons. At first glance, they're just merchants hawking oran berries and blast seeds. Dig deeper though, and their inventory raises eyebrows. Items like link cables, which let you connect distant dungeons for multiplayer rescues, or X-ray specs that pierce illusions. Where do they get this stuff? Kecleon aren't miners or inventors. They're chameleons with a knack for trade. Theory posits these goods are scavenged from human ruins, otherworldly relics preserved through the ages. In Super Mystery Dungeon, their shops stock rare wonder bags filled with human-era tech, like seeds that warp gravity or cables mimicking telecommunication. Picture this: a Kecleon eyeing you suspiciously from behind a counter laden with devices no Pokémon could fabricate alone. Seeds that explode on command, scarves that boost evasion, like stealth suits, or even gummies that alter type matchups, as if genetically engineered. These aren't natural evolutions of Pokémon craftsmanship. They're holdovers from a time when humans supplied the ingenuity, trading with Pokémon partners in bustling markets long turned to dust. The shops are time capsules, and every purchase you make is unwittingly buying into the lost civilization. Now you might ask, if humans were here, thriving alongside Pokémon, what happened to them? Enter the Cataclysm, the event that shattered everything. This isn't some vague backstory. Clues point to a sudden, world-altering disaster. In the Explorers series, parallels with the time paralysis caused by stolen time gears, but on a grander scale. Imagine a rift tearing open in space-time, perhaps from over-ambitious lab experiments gone wrong. Humans tinkering with legendary artifacts like the dimensional hole or unowned script, punching holes in reality. The fallout? Massive distortions birthing the first feral dungeons. Or consider a curse. Legends in the games whisper of ancient Pokémon guardians, like the bitter Dialga from the future in Explorers of Darkness, unleashing wrath on those who meddled with time. What if humans encroached too far, enslaving Pokémon in labs or weaponizing them for war? A divine curse could have erased them, twisting peaceful lands into aggressive labyrinths where Pokémon turned feral, driven mad by the corrupting energy. Rescue Team DX remakes show post-cataclysm worlds with overgrown ruins, vines choking what were once streets. War is the darkest theory, humans versus Pokémon factions, or humans split by ideology over Pokémon rights. Evidence mounts in places like the post-town ruins, in gates to infinity, scarred by blast marks resembling hyperbeam craters. Skeletal remains aren't detailed, but the devastation screams conflict. Whatever the trigger, the result was the same. Humans vanished overnight. No bodies, no graves, just echoes. Society collapsed, and mystery dungeons exploded across the land. Feral zones where wild Pokémon roamed unchecked, items respawning unnaturally, as if reality glitched. This cataclysm didn't just erase humans, it birthed the feral dungeons we dread. Think about it. Normal Pokémon towns are stable, civilized. Dungeons? They're chaos incarnate, floors shifting, enemies endless, hunger gnawing at you. The hypothesis claims these are scars from the event, rifts leaking distortion energy that feralizes Pokémon, making them aggressive shadows of their former selves. In early games like Red Rescue Team, dungeons feel like quarantined zones, natural barriers containing the corruption. Labs at their hearts hold failed containment devices. Proof humans tried to seal the breaches, but failed spectacularly. You start to see the pattern. Every major PMD title circles these anomalies without explaining them. Super Mystery Dungeon's Join Avenue has Kecleon trading postmodern items amid a world supposedly Pokémon only. Rescue Team DX polishes the labs, making their human design even clearer with HD sprites. It's as if developers planted these breadcrumbs intentionally, inviting us to connect the dots. After the fall, Pokémon didn't wallow in despair. They rebuilt, rising from the ruins like phoenixes. Towns like Pokémon Square in Rescue Team, built atop crumbled human plazas, fountains repurposed from lab coolant systems. Guilds in Explorers of Time perch on cliffs, overlooking dungeon-riddled valleys. their libraries stuffed with scrolls that vaguely reference two-footed wanderers who once guided them. Legends preserve the faded truths, tales of the great human allies who taught fire starting or map making, now mythologized as friendly spirits. In Gates to Infinity, the floating Pokémon village floats above a blasted wasteland, its inhabitants reciting oral histories of a sky fall that darkened the world. These aren't coincidences. Pokémon societies mirror human ones, elected mayors, banks, performance halls, echoes of the civilization they inherited. Even the protagonist's amnesia fits, humans slipping back through rifts, reborn as Pokémon to atone or restore balance. But why does this matter to you? The explorer staring down another dungeon dive. It reframes everything. Your human soul isn't an anomaly, it's a return. Those labs you loot, your ancestors' handiwork, Kecleon haggling over relics, trading your lost heritage, the feral hordes, casualties of hubris. This hypothesis turns passive gameplay into a quest for truth. Every reviver seed, a lifeline from the past. Delve deeper into specific examples, and it gets even more intriguing. Take the Unknown Ruins in Explorers of Sky's special episodes, alphabet Pokémon scripting prophecies in human-like code, buried under lab complexes, or the Applewood shop in Rescue Team, where Kecleon offers scarves of wonder, fabrics woven with tech threads that defy Pokémon tailoring. In Super Mystery Dungeon, the juice bar sells mixes hinting at chemical engineering, recipes too precise for trial and error. Fan analyses amplify this. Speedrunners mapping dungeon layouts find geometric perfection impossible without blueprints. Lore hunters cross-reference item descriptions, made from rare metals found in deep ruins. Where else but human scrapyards? The Cataclysm's nature fuels endless debate. Rift theory ties to primal Dialga's breakdown, space-time fracturing. Curse aligns with Darkrai's nightmare powers in Sky, punishing interlopers. War evokes the bitter future, Pokémon invading from temporal exile. No matter the cause, the birth of feral dungeons sealed the new era. Pre-Cataclysm, perhaps dungeons were controlled labs. Post-event, they went wild, respawning foes as echoes of trapped souls. Pokémon tamed the fringes, building walls like Treasure Town's barriers, but the cores remain untamed. Over millennia, legends faded but persisted. Guildmaster Wigglytuff's chants in Explorers, garbled memories of human lullabies, the partner Pokémon's unwavering loyalty, instinctual gratitude to ancient allies. You feel it in the storytelling, themes of lost memory mirroring collective amnesia. This lost civilization isn't just theory, it's the glue holding PMD's fragmented lore together. It explains why humans keep appearing as protagonists, why dungeons defy logic, why relics persist, Pokémon rebuilt masterfully but cracks show, earthquakes hinting at unstable rifts, legendaries intervening like clockwork, and those interventions, they point to repeating patterns, disasters echoing the first cataclysm. What if the time gear thefts, the bitter cold in Gates, dark matter in Super, all ripples from that original fall? Societies rise, threats emerge from the distortions, heroes restore order, only for history to loop. You're piecing it together now, aren't you? The human Pokémon golden age, shattered by rift or curse or war. Dungeons feralizing the wilds. Pokémon Phoenix rising on the ruins. Legends whisper the truth, waiting for someone like you to heed them. But hold on, because this isn't a one-time tragedy. What comes next reveals how these cataclysms don't just happen once, they cycle endlessly, threatening to bury even the Pokémon's hard-won world all over again. In Chapter 11, Cycles of Catastrophe, we'll uncover the terrifying pattern that keeps resetting history itself. You won't want to miss how it ties every game into one inescapable loop. Cycles of Catastrophe. Every Pokémon Mystery Dungeon game follows the same haunting rhythm. A human with no memory plummets into a world on the brink of annihilation. rallies a ragtag team of Pokémon, shatters the looming disaster, and then vanishes like a ghost, leaving the survivors to rebuild from the ashes. You see it in Red Rescue Team, where endless calamities ravage the land. Floods swallowing villages, meteors scorching the skies, earthquakes splitting the earth wide open. Explorers of Time and Darkness ramps it up with time itself grinding to a halt. Gates to Infinity unleashes a bitter void that devours hope. Super Mystery Dungeon watches entire dimensions crumble into nothingness. It's not random storytelling, it's a cycle etched into the fabric of this universe, a desperate loop against inevitable decay. Think about what that means for you, piecing this together. You've played these games, felt that disorientation firsthand, the fog in your mind, the urgency of a world unraveling. But why does it always start this way? Why you, the outsider, crashing in right when everything teeters? The answer hides in the pattern itself, a blueprint for survival in a reality that's constantly fraying at the edges. Across 5 major entries spanning from 2005 to 2015, this amnesiac human archetype isn't just a gameplay hook. It's the universe's failsafe, a reset button triggered when entropy, the relentless force of disorder, threatens to consume all. Take Red Rescue Team first. You wake up as a Pikachu or Charmander, memory wiped clean, in a Pokémon world battered by freak disasters. Rivers overflow without rain. Skies rain fire. The ground heaves like it's alive and angry. No one knows why, but whispers point to the legendary Pokémon up high. Rayquaza, the Sky Guardian, locked in a standoff with the seas and lands themselves. You form a rescue team, delve into those twisting mystery dungeons, and uncover the truth. It's not in fighting among gods. It's a symptom of deeper rot. The fabric of existence is thinning, demanding intervention. You climb to the heavens, broker peace among Rayquaza, Groudon, and Kyogre, and stability returns. But then, you depart. Not with fanfare, but quietly. Your human origins a fading dream. The Pokémon world none the wiser. Fast forward to explorers of time, darkness, and sky. The pattern sharpens. Again, amnesia hits. You're a human turned Pokémon, partnered with a loyal friend like Chimecho or Turtwig. This time, the crisis is temporal paralysis. Clocks freeze. Days loop eternally. Pokémon drop into statuesque stillness, mid-step. The culprits? The time gears? Ancient artifacts pulsing with the heartbeat of time itself, scattered across the land, and one buried in the depths of Fogbound Lake, under the watchful eye of Uxie. Someone, or something, is stealing them, unraveling the timeline. You chase the thief through dungeons that shift like living mazes, confronting Dusk Noir, the hitman from a ruined future, and Primal Dialga, the corrupted Lord of Time, twisted by his own unchecked power. Here's where it gets chilling. You don't just fix the gears, you travel to that apocalyptic future. The Voidlands, a barren wasteland where time has collapsed into a grey haze, Pokémon reduced to shadows scavenging for scraps. You restore the gears, punch Dialga back to sanity, and rewrite history. Balance achieved, crisis averted, and you, erased from the timeline, departing as the world reboots, your partner weeping at a beach with no footprints leading away. Coincidence? Hardly. These aren't isolated tales. They're echoes of the same war. Gates to Infinity doubles down. You're the human again, amnesia fresh, landing in a post-apocalyptic haze where a colossal entity called the Bitter Cold looms, a swirling mass of crystallized despair, negativity made manifest. It chills the air, drains the spirit, promises to freeze the world in eternal sorrow. Pokémon turn on each other, hope fractures. You recruit allies, storm floating fortresses, and radiant gardens warped by the cold, and confront the truth. The Bitter Cold feeds on accumulated bitterness from eons of strife. Kyurem, the boundary Pokémon, crystallizes it into a weapon. You shatter it at the edge of oblivion, but victory demands sacrifice. Your departure? A quiet fade, humanity slipping away once more, the cycle spinning onward. Super Mystery Dungeon cements it. The Voidlands return, not as a future ruin, but as an invading force, a pitch-black expanse swallowing landmasses whole. Pokémon petrify on contact. The sky cracks like glass. You, the amnesiac human in Pikachu or Riolu form, unite every Pokémon species in history through recruitment frenzies. Legendaries like Arceus awaken, but even they falter against the Void's hunger. You delve into the depths, face off against dark matter, not a villain, but entropy incarnate, a primordial chaos born from emotional voids. It whispers doubts, amplifies fears. You purify it with bonds of friendship, halting the consumption. World saved. And yes, you depart, your true nature revealed only in fleeting visions, leaving the Pokémon to ponder the legend of the human savior. You feel that repetition building, don't you? It's deliberate. Each game replays the cycle. Arrival during catastrophe, restoration through grit and bonds, departure into myth. But why? What's driving this eternal rerun? The time gears, the Voidlands, the bitter cold, they're not standalone threats. They're symptoms, flare-ups in an endless battle against entropy. Picture reality as a delicate clockwork, wound tight by creation, but doomed to unwind. Mystery dungeons are the cracks where disorder seeps in. Endless, shifting labyrinths, birthing feral Pokémon warped by distortion. Time gears keep the mechanism ticking, steal them, and gears grind to dust. The Voidlands are the unwinding extreme, space folding into nothingness. Bitter cold is emotional entropy, negativity compounding until it solidifies catastrophe. This isn't random chaos, it's a cosmic tug of war. Entropy pulls toward dissolution, time halting, worlds voiding, bitterness freezing progress. Countering it, order imposed by fleeting humans and Pokémon unity. But humans don't belong here long term. They're interlopers, sparks from beyond, amnesia shielding them from the full horror. You arrive when legendaries sense the tipping point. Guardians like Dialga, Palkia, Giratina, and Arceus enforcing the rules. They're not aloof gods, they're wardens of fragile reality. Consider Dialga in Explorers. Primal Dialga embodies unchecked time, entropy's victory lap, devouring past and future. You humble him, restoring balance. Rayquaza in Rescue Team mediates the elemental clash, a reset enforcer preventing total elemental meltdown. Curem in Gates channels the cold void but bends to your will. Arceus in Super delegates to you, the outsider, because legendaries maintain the cycle without breaking it themselves. They can't fully intervene. Direct action risks shattering the plane. Instead, they summon you, the amnesiac human, to wield the hammer. Why resets? Reality's too brittle for linear history. Each catastrophe erases chunks of memory, scatters legends, Pokémon societies rebuild, forgetting the last human hero until the next rift calls another. It's preservation through periodic purges. Time gears shatter and reform. Voidlands recede but lurk. Bitter cold shards hint at future chills. Entropy never quits. It ebbs, waits, surges. Legendaries orchestrate the dance, ensuring no single failure ends it all. You might wonder, does this make the games feel repetitive? Not if you see the escalation. Red Team's disasters are local tremors. Explorers goes temporal. Gates hits existential despair. Super devours dimensions. Each cycle reveals more of the war, entropy's many faces, humanity's pivotal role. Fan theories nail it. Mystery dungeons as entropy vents, humans as anti-chaos agents from a lost era. Ancient humans perhaps tampered with time-space, birthing the rifts. Legendaries sealed them away, but the wounds fester. Dig deeper into the lore drops. In Explorers of Sky, special episodes echo the cycle. Grovyle stealing gears not as villainy, but mercy from a doomed future. Celebi glimpses timelines branching into voids. Super's postgame has Mawile delving into origins, hinting cycles predate recorded history. Rescue Team DX remakes it with subtle nods, enhanced ruins suggesting prior collapses. Gates post-credits teases recurring bitterness. What if this pattern predicts future games? A new entrant, amnesia fresh, facing warped space or emotional plagues. You'd step in, restore, depart. But the real payoff? Understanding PMD's heart. It's not just dungeon crawls, it's a mythos of resilience against oblivion. You, the player, embody the human, dropping into chaos, forging bonds, tipping scales. Feels personal, doesn't it? Yet gaps persist. How do legendaries choose the moment? Why amnesia every time? Is entropy winning, forcing tighter cycles? These questions lead straight to the hubs connecting it all. Up next, in Dimensional Hubs and Multiverse Links, we'll uncover how these worlds might not loop in isolation, but branch across realities with portals and cameos hiding the master timeline. Stick around. You won't believe how it ties every loose end together. I hope you're as amazed by this as I am. If you want to stay updated on more content like this, make sure to subscribe and join our community of curious minds. Trust me, what's coming next will challenge everything you thought you knew. Dimensional Hubs and Multiverse Links. Super Mystery Dungeon hides a game-changing secret right in its post-game content. A sprawling hub world called the Mystery Dungeon Exam that pulls together heroes from every major entry in the series. You recruit legendary rescue teams from Red and Blue Rescue Team, Explorers of Time and Darkness, even Gates to Infinity, all teaming up in one massive dungeon crawl. But here's the kicker. This isn't just a fan service Easter egg. It's a blatant hint at a multiverse structure binding these stories together. A central nexus where timelines and worlds collide. Think about it. You've got the charismatic Pikachu and partner from the original Rescue Team duo chatting strategy with the Grovyle and partner from Explorers, all under the watchful eye of the Guildmaster from Sky. These aren't random nods, they're fully playable allies with their signature moves and backstories intact. Why go to such lengths if each game exists in total isolation? Super Mystery Dungeon screams that there's an overarching connector, a dimensional crossroads where the fabric of the PMD universe thins enough for crossovers to happen naturally. You, as the player, assemble this dream team to tackle the biggest threat yet, but the real revelation is what this hub implies about the bigger picture. Now let's zoom out. What allows these connections to form? Enter the unknown and the distortion worlds, the unsung architects of infinite PMD variants. Unknown, those enigmatic rune-like Pokémon, have popped up since the very first games, scrawling ancient scripts on ruins and whispering forgotten knowledge. In Explorers of Sky, they guard the ultimate secret, a hidden present where time and space twist into parallel realms. But their true power shines in how they manipulate reality itself. Fans have long mapped unknown ruins as anchors for dimensional rifts, places where the veil between worlds frays. Distortion worlds take this further. Remember the creeping darkness in Explorers, or the void-like anomalies in Gates to Infinity? These aren't isolated glitches, they're echoes of the Distortion world, a chaotic antimatter realm first glimpsed in the mainline Pokémon series, but perfectly mirrored in PMD lore. In Super Mystery Dungeon, the final dungeon assaults feel like plunges into pure distortion, with gravity flipping and layouts defying logic, much like Mystery Dungeons on steroids. What if these distortions aren't random? What if they're stable portals, engineered or accidental, linking countless PMD worlds? Scenario unfolding across the multiverse. A human like you falls through a rift, amnesia wiping your past, landing in a Pokémon world primed for crisis. In one variant, it's a paralysis of time from stolen gears. In another, bitter cold freezes hope itself. Each game spins a fresh catastrophe, but the unknown and distortions act as keys, unlocking doors to neighbouring realities. Super's hub becomes the proof, a convergence point where heroes slip through these cracks to aid each other. You recruit them because, in the grand weave, their worlds brush against yours. Fan communities have taken this idea and run with it, crafting intricate timelines that align these chaotic events into distinct eras. Start with the ancient fall, that primordial cataclysm where humans and Pokémon coexisted in gleaming civilizations, only for a cosmic calamity to shatter everything. Relics litter the dungeons, labs buried under warped stone, unowned script warning of the rift that swallowed humanity whole. Mystery. Dungeons bloom from those wounds, endless mazes born of destabilized space-time. Then comes the Rescue Age, the era of Red and Blue Rescue Team. Societies rebuild from the ashes, wild Pokémon feral from distortion taint, rampaging until brave teams like yours form the first guilds. No grand time gears yet, just raw survival against meteors and floods, but the seeds of multiversal awareness are there. Postmen deliver letters from other worlds, whispers of hubs yet to be discovered. Transition to the Explorer cycles, those looping sagas of time travel and future visions. Explorers of time, darkness and sky form the core where thefts of time gears unravel reality, pulling in entities from beyond. Grovile's paradox ripples across dimensions, creating branches where Sky's extra episodes explore hidden presence tied to unknown realms. Gates to Infinity kicks off another cycle with its post-apocalyptic ice world, bitter cold as a distortion-fueled plague. Each cycle resets partially, legends intervening to stitch time back, but echoes bleed through to Super's hub. These eras aren't linear, they're concentric rings orbiting a multiversal core. Fans chart how a distortion event in one era spawns variants in the next. Take the Paralysis future from Explorers. It mirrors the Void crises in Gates, both feeding into Super's ultimate dungeon where every past hero converges. Unknown facilitate this, their script a universal language, decoding the links. You stumble on ruins in Rescue Team, decipher riddles in Explorers, and in Super, they underpin the entire hub mechanic. But why does this matter to you? The Explorer piecing together the forgotten history, because it transforms standalone tales into a symphony of connected chaos. Imagine delving into a mystery dungeon, not as random peril, but as brushing infinity's edge. One wrong turn, and you glimpse a parallel team fighting their own gears theft. The aggression of wild Pokémon, corruption seeping from adjacent distortions. Your amnesia, a side effect of rift travel, memories scattered across hubs. Let's dig deeper with specifics. In Super Mystery Dungeon, that hub exam isn't optional fluff, it's the narrative climax. You petition the guild for access, proving your worth before stepping into a realm where space folds. Recruitable teams retain personalities. The snarky chatter from Rescue Team's Makuhita Guildmaster, the stoic resolve of Sky's Wigglytuff. They banter about shared threats, hinting at prior crossovers you never saw. This suggests the connector operates continuously, heroes phasing in when worlds align. Unknown amplify this. In Explorers of Sky's special episodes, they reveal a barren future, twisted by unchecked distortions. A warning for all variants. Their shapes form words like future and spatial, blueprints for rifts. Fans theorize Unknown as neutral observers, stabilizing hubs to prevent total multiversal collapse. Distortions, meanwhile, are the wild cards. Giratina's shadow looms in lore ties, the renegade Pokémon embodying anti-creation, birthing endless dungeon variants as safety valves for excess chaos. Consider the mechanics too. Every PMD game tweaks dungeon generation, but core rules persist. Items vanish on exit, foes scale eternally. What if this consistency proves a shared dimensional substrate? Super's hub dungeon randomizes with cameos scaling to your team, mirroring how distortions adapt threats across worlds. You face waves echoing past bosses, Darkrai's Nightmare, Curem's Frostbite, all converging. Fan mappings get even more precise with eras. Ancient Fall predates records, evidenced by Pearl, Shards and Kecleon shops selling dimensional relics. Rescue Age spans the originals and DX remake, establishing post-fall recovery. Explorer cycles encompass time, darkness, sky gates, marked by escalating time-space meddling. Super sits as the Nexus era, bridging to infinity. Each era's climax births distortions, seeding the next. Meteor in Rescue spawns gear vulnerabilities. Gear's theft amplifies bitter cold. You feel the pull, don't you? That nagging sense these games whisper secrets too vast for one timeline. What if your partner in one world is a cameo in another, lives intersecting through unowned scripted fate? The hub cameo in Super isn't closure. It's an invitation to question every ending. Heroes fade, but distortions endure, promising new variants. Evidence piles up. Post-game in Sky links to unknown realms, housing alternate timelines. Gates Void World post-boss feels like a distortion hub prototype. Rescue DX adds new lore beats, Ruins hinting at multiversal humans. All funnel towards Super's connector, proving the multiverse theory. Yet doubts linger. Are these links canonical or developer Easter eggs? Game Freak loves ambiguity, but the depth suggests intent. Unknown evolve from puzzle minions to reality weavers, distortions from gimmicks to lore pillars. Together, they unlock infinite PMD worlds, each a fresh amnesia plunge into crisis. As we connect these dots, eras align not as fan wishful thinking, but inevitable patterns. Ancient Falls Rift echoes in every distortion. Rescue Age's grit fuels explorer resilience. Cycles loop, hubs converge, unknown observe. You're on the cusp of something huge. Hold that thought, because in the next chapter, forging a unified mythos, we take all these threads, hubs, distortions, eras, and weave them into one unbreakable tapestry of PMD history. What emerges will redefine everything you thought you knew about this universe. You won't want to miss how it all snaps into place. Forging a unified mythos. What if the fractured lore of Pokémon Mystery Dungeon could be woven into one epic, unbroken saga? A single mythos that explains the humans vanishing, the dungeons spawning, and the cosmic threats lurking in the shadows. Today, we're forging that unified history right here, drawing from the deepest hints in the games, the relics scattered across titles, and the patterns that demand a bigger picture. You ready to rewrite Pokémon history as we know it? Let's start at the dawn. Picture an era so ancient, it's barely whispered in the oldest guild scrolls. The Ancient Harmony era. This wasn't some fairy tale of Pokémon frolicking in meadows. No, humans walked side by side with Pokémon. Not as trainers barking orders, but as true partners in a golden age of innovation. They engineered bonds that went beyond Pokeballs or badges. Think symbiotic links, forged in vast laboratories, humming with energy, where psychic waves synced human minds directly to Pokémon essences. A Pikachu didn't just obey, it shared thoughts, emotions, strategies in real time. You can see echoes of this in the game's partner mechanics, that unbreakable trust forming from the first meeting. But it went further. Humans pioneered tech that amplified these bonds, creating amplifiers that let a single Charmander breathe fire hot enough to reshape mountains, or a Psyduck bend probability itself. And the crowning achievement? Unown megastructures. Those enigmatic letter Pokémon, Unown, weren't wild curiosities back then. Humans harnessed them as living bricks, scripting reality with their glyphs. Imagine colossal spires piercing the clouds, walls etched with unowned scripts that warped space, stored infinite knowledge, even peeked into parallel dimensions. Explorers of Sky hints at this with unknown ruins pulsing with forgotten power, and Super Mystery Dungeon shows them as guardians of cosmic secrets. These weren't just buildings, they were engines of creation. Humans built cities that floated on psychic currents, academies where Abra teleported scholars across continents, and observatories scanning the stars for legendary Pokémon signatures. Society thrived. Pokémon evolved not just biologically, but culturally, learning human sciences, debating philosophy in torch-lit halls. It was harmony perfected, a world where Mewtwo-level intellects were commonplace, and Arceus's creation felt tangible, engineered. But every golden age has its fracture point. Enter the Great Rift. Hubris struck when humans pushed their time and space tech too far. They cracked open the veil using unknown megastructures as keys, chasing immortality, infinite resources, maybe even godhood. Time gears? Those weren't random artifacts. They were prototypes, stabilizing chronal flows in early experiments. In Gates to Infinity and Explorers, the obsession with time manipulation, future visions, gear thefts causing paralysis, now scale that up. Over-ambitious labs, fueled by Dialga and Palkia's essences siphoned through unknown conduits, tore rifts wide. What poured through? Dark matter. Not just a villain from Super Mystery Dungeon, but the primordial void, the anti-creation force that Explorer's primal Dialga embodied in corrupted form. This wasn't metaphor, it was catastrophe incarnate. Dark matter flooded in like ink through cracked glass, twisting reality. Pokémon bonds shattered first. Humans felt the psychic backlash, their minds unraveling as partners turned feral in agony. Megastructures imploded, unknowns scattering like panicked letters, their scripts unmaking cities. Time warped, days looped eternally, in some zones while others aged to dust in seconds. Humanity scattered, not killed outright, but hurled across dimensions, timelines splintered. Some say they became the amnesia-struck protagonists we play as, yanked back eons later. Others whisper they linger in hidden realms, watching. The Great Rift birthed the first mystery dungeons, space-time anomalies, pockets where physics folded like wet paper, red rescue teams, endless labyrinths, blue's post-rift worlds, all symptoms of this wound. You feel that chill? That's the payoff of piecing it together. The games drop these breadcrumbs everywhere. In Explorers of Time, the planet's future crumbles from temporal abuse, mirroring the rift's echo. Super's bitter cold, crystallized despair, dark matter residue, amplifying negativity across eras, Rescue Team DX's Meteor Crisis, a rift aftershock, legendaries intervening to patch the scar. Fans have speculated this for years, but unify it, and it snaps into focus. No more standalone stories, one cataclysm explains the feral wilds, the aggressive dungeon dwellers, the recurring human ghosts. Now, the dungeon age dawns from those ashes. Pokémon severed from human guidance, feralized amid the rifts. Distortions pump them with raw energy. Think adrenaline on steroids. A normally docile Bidoof charges like a bull. Growlithe packs hunt in frenzied swarms. Mystery dungeons became no-go zones, warping entrance items, memories, even forms. But Pokémon adapted. Survivors clustered in stable pockets, ruins repurposed as villages. Whiskash Village in Explorers, built on Harmony-era foundations, Treasure Town's guild, a salvaged observatory tower. Societies formed organically, rescue teams born from necessity, guilds from shared survival pacts. Legendaries stepped up as reluctant gods, Celebi mending time tears, Jirachi granting boons to rebuild. Over centuries, oral myths solidified. Humans became the Skyfall folk, saviors who vanished, their tech-cursed relics. This mythos binds it all. Why do dungeons shift? Rift instability, unknown echoes rewriting layouts hourly. Why the amnesia heroes? Rift-pulled humans, minds wiped by chronal shear. Why dark matter returns? The wound never fully healed, it festers, spawning crises like time gears vanishing or bitter colds rise. Gates to Infinity's post-apoc vibes, a minor flare-up. Each game a cycle, rift widens, hero emerges, balance restores, but scars deepen. Pokémon evolve socially too. Post-Rift, they form democracies, explore ethically, honor lost partners. Let's dive deeper into how this plays out. Take the Unknown megastructures. In lore scraps, they're tied to Fogbound Lake's dimensional mirror in Explorers of Sky. What if that lake was a rift scar reflecting Harmony Halls? Humans built it to commune with unknown hives, scripting protections against cosmic threats. Misuse overloaded it, summoning dark matter as backlash. Evidence? Super Mystery Dungeon's Unknown campaign. Letters rebuilding a world tree, hinting at restorative origins. Fans connect dots to Luminous Spring, where protagonists transform. A human-to-Pokémon converter, relic of Bond engineering. Dark matter's role amplifies the horror. In Super, it's negativity incarnate. But in our mythos, it's the Rift's invader, corrupting legendaries into primal forms. Dialga's breakdown in Explorers, dark matter infection via time tech abuse. It scatters humanity by phasing them out, some into dungeon cores, fueling endless generations, others to future wastelands, birthing the bad future arcs. Pokémon feralize because it severs empathy links. Bonds require human-Pokémon synergy, lost in the chaos. You see a feral Salamence guarding treasure? It's hoarding Harmony-era artifacts, instincts twisted. Societies rising amid ruins adds heart. Imagine early Dungeon Age, clusters of Pokémon around glowing unknown shards for light, warmth. First guilds form when a heroic Lucario rallies against rift beasts. Towns like Luminous Town in DX, rebuilt labs, tech scavenged for forges. This explains cameos. Grovyle from Explorers pops up in Super because timelines bleed via rifts. No multiverse needed. One wounded world branches as distortions. But why does Game Freak leave it vague? Storytelling gold. Each title hooks you personally. Your amnesia, your partner, before cosmic reveals. Unified mythos elevates that. Your journey echoes ancient falls. Fans fill gaps brilliantly. Relic labs in dungeons match human tech ghosts. Parallel worlds, just rift pockets. Feel the weight? This isn't fanfic. It's the mythos screaming for unity. Ancient harmony birthed wonders. Great rift unleashed hell. Dungeon, age forged resilience. Humans didn't die. They're woven in, waiting recall. What happens when heroes recur, fighting wars long buried? That's the mind-blowing twist in Recurrent Heroes and Forgotten Wars. Up next, wars that echo the rift itself. Heroes cycling eternally. You won't see it coming. Recurrent Heroes and Forgotten Wars. Every protagonist in the Pokémon Mystery Dungeon games shares one unbreakable trait. They wake up as a Pokémon with no memory of their human past. But what if that's not amnesia? What if it's a deliberate veil pulled over ancient eyes time and again? In this chapter, we're diving into the heart of a cyclic nightmare, where heroes don't just save the day once, they return, lifetime after lifetime, to fight the same forgotten wars. Consider the pattern across the series. In Red and Blue Rescue Team, you're thrust into a world on the brink, gathering forces to stop a meteor. Explorers of Time and Darkness ramps it up with time gears shattering the fabric of reality. Gates to Infinity pits you against a bitterness that swallows hope whole. Super Mystery Dungeon unleashes a plague of distortion, turning friends into foes. Each time, you, the player, embody that lost human soul, piecing together fragments while the world unravels. Coincidence? Hardly. This screams of recurrence, a loop where the same spirits are reborn to plug the leaks in a crumbling cosmos. You see, the deepest fan theories, backed by the scant lore drops in the games, paint a picture of souls, specifically human ones, pulled back into the fray endlessly. These aren't random picks, they're chosen warriors, reincarnated precisely when rifts tear open in the Pokémon world. Mystery dungeons? They're the scars, those ever-shifting mazes pulsing with chaotic energy. Each collapse births more of them, spewing feral Pokémon, corrupted by the void between realities. Your role? Seal them shut before the infection spreads. Think about it. Why does every story start the same way? You tumble from your world into theirs, body changed, mind blanked. It's not lazy writing, it's mythic structure. In ancient lore traditions, heroes reincarnate to fulfill unfinished destinies. Here, those destinies are rift-sealing. You've done it before, in prior loops. The partner Pokémon who finds you? Often an echo of allies from past lives, drawn by some soul-deep bond. That nagging sense of déjà vu in the dialogues, the flashes of memory, clues that you're not new to this rodeo. Now layer in the time gears from explorers. These aren't just shiny plot devices. They're the linchpins, crystalline stabilizers, keeping time's flow steady. But where did they come from? Not forged by legendaries in some divine forge, no. The clues point to ancient labs, hidden facilities from a human Pokémon golden age. Unknown script in ruins, mechanical relics scattered in dungeons. These hint at a civilization that weaponized time itself. Scientists, perhaps human ones, crafted the gears to anchor reality against rifts. They worked for eons, until someone stole them. Theft isn't random chaos, it's sabotage. In the loops we've pieced together, shadowy forces snatch the gears to halt time, forcing a reset. Paralysis grips the land, clocks freeze, Pokémon turn savage, the sky cracks. Why? To wipe the slate, erasing failures and starting over. But resets aren't clean. They leave echoes, warped histories, vengeful spirits, more rifts. Each cycle scars deeper, birthing fiercer mystery dungeons and hungrier distortions. And the villains? They're not mustache-twirling baddies. They're ghosts of yesterday's defeats, twisted by the despair of collapsed worlds. Take Primal Dialga from Explorers, a guardian of time, corrupted into a monster, raging against his own fate. He's an echo, haunted by visions of prior breakdowns where he couldn't hold the line. Dusk Noir, his enforcer, a remnant from a future loop, loyal to a dying order. In Gates to Infinity, the villain's endless bitterness stems from watching paradise crumble before, not malice born fresh, but despair fermented across resets. You feel that chill yet? These antagonists aren't evil for evil's sake. They're you, or close to it, what happens when a hero breaks. Imagine fighting rift after rift, sealing one only for the cycle to spin again. Hope frays. Despair sets in. Some souls snap, becoming the very force they once opposed. Dark matter in Super Mystery Dungeon, pure negativity incarnate, born from collective failures, piling up through loops. It doesn't hate light. It embodies the void left by endless wars lost. Let's ground this in the games. Rewind to Explorers of Sky. You and your partner chase stolen time gears across frozen wastes, volcanic depths, even the future itself. Each retrieval mends a slice of time, but the pattern repeats: theft, paralysis, pursuit. Grovel, branded a villain at first, is actually a hero from a prior loop, risking everything to break the cycle. His despair, knowing resets doom his world repeatedly. You join him, your reincarnated soul recognizing the truth intuitively. Fast forward to Rescue Team DX, the remake. The meteor threat, a rift byproduct, pulling celestial doom through weakened barriers. Your guild fights not just rocks from the sky, but the underlying instability. Every boss Pokémon, every warped floor in a dungeon, symptoms of the same war raging since the ancient labs fell. This loop explains the continuity gaps too. Why no tight timeline? Because resets scramble it. Cameos in Super Mystery Dungeon, like Guildmaster Wigglytuff or the player's partner from Explorers? Not Easter eggs. Their souls caught mid-cycle, flickering across eras. The human legends whispered in Pokémon towns. faded memories of your past incarnations. But how does reincarnation even work here? Picture the mechanics. When a loop ends in total collapse, souls don't perish. They're shunted to a limbo, a rift nexus beyond time. Human souls, resilient from their origin world, are yanked back as protagonists, perfect rift sealers due to their dual nature insight. Pokémon partners anchor them, providing loyalty untouched by human flaws. Together, they reclaim gears, mend dungeons, banish echoes. Evidence mounts in the post-game quests, hidden dialogues. In Explorers, the Bitter Cold in Sky's special episodes, a manifestation of looped despair. In Gates, the Void's whispers echo past heroes' laments. Super's post-story reveals layers of prior calamities, with legendaries weary from intervening cycle after cycle. You might wonder, is escape possible? Some theories say yes, a perfect seal, all gears reunited, rifts cauterized forever. But the games tease doom. Each title ends bittersweet, hints of future threats lingering. Your victories? Temporary patches in an eternal war. Delve deeper into the ancient labs. Scattered lore mentions crystalline tech, energy matrices mimicking legendary powers. Humans didn't worship Arceus. They engineered alongside Pokémon prodigies. The gears? Prototypes for stabilizing dimensional barriers. Theft came from within. Perhaps a villain echo, despair-driven, believing reset was mercy. One theft cascades, time stalls, rifts widen, dungeons bloom like wounds, villains as echoes hit hardest. Sequence, loop 1, hero fails, world ends, despair soul twists into antagonist. Loop 2, new hero faces that echo, wins narrowly, reset anyway. Echo's remnants fuel next villain. Chain reaction. Primal Dialga embodies it. Time's protector, broken by foreseeing infinite failures. In your playthroughs, that emotional gut punch, engineered. Games make you bond, sacrifice, remember. Just a hint it's happened before. The music swells, partners. Plead, legendaries plead for one more chance. It's meta, pulling you into the loop. Expand to gates to infinity. Post-game, you glimpse the void's hunger, born from stacked collapses. Bitter King, despair crystallized from heroes who couldn't end the cycle. Your role? Reincarnate to try again, hope flickering. Super Mystery Dungeon, cranks it. World's End via distortion, every Pokémon suspect. Your human soul shines, immune to full corruption, sealing the source. Dark matter, despair's ultimate form. Rescue teams Kabutops and Aerodactyl. Ancient guardians, weary from eons of war, are lying with you anew. This mythos unifies everything. No loose ends, just a grand, tragic saga. You're not playing separate stories, you're the recurrent hero, drafted eternally. But despair's not total. Each loop teaches, allies evolve, tactics sharpen. Maybe this iteration breaks free. What does this mean for the broader Pokémon canon? That's where it gets explosive. Up next in Chapter 15, Implications for Pokémon Canon, we'll uncover how these endless loops bleed into the main series, rewriting everything you thought you knew about Pokémon history itself. You won't want to miss it. Implications for Pokémon Canon. What if Pokémon Mystery Dungeon isn't a side story at all, but the secret origin of the entire Pokémon world we know from the main games? Think about it. The core Pokémon series has always danced around massive questions. Where did humans come from in this Pokémon-filled reality? Why is Mew, the ancestor of all Pokémon, such an elusive myth? And those ancient ruins and labs scattered across regions like Sinnoh and Kalos, whispering of forgotten civilizations, what do they really hide? The answer staring us in the face might be the Mystery Dungeon saga, positioning it as a clandestine prequel that rewrites everything. Let's connect the dots you've been piecing together so far. In the PMD games, humans don't just visit, they plunge deep into the fabric of the Pokémon world. You start as one, stripped of memories, transformed into a Pokémon to survive. Partners form unbreakable bonds, guilds rise from the ashes of chaos, and cosmic threats like dark matter or fractured time gears nearly unravel existence itself. But after each crisis, what happens? Humans fade away. In Explorers of Time, the protagonist returns to the future as a Pokémon-human hybrid, vanishing from the present. In Gates to Infinity, the world resets through bitter black corruption, leaving Pokémon to rebuild alone. Super Mystery Dungeon sees legendary Pokémon sacrificing to preserve balance, with humans nowhere in sight post-Cataclysm. This isn't coincidence, it's a pattern of exodus. Now, zoom out to mainline Pokémon. Red and Blue introduce us to Kanto, a world where humans and Pokémon coexist seamlessly, training for battles, exploring without a hint of mystery dungeons warping reality. No rampant amnesia, no feral wild Pokémon driven mad by distortions. Fast forward. Through generations, Hoenn's Sea of Origin, Sinnoh's creation myths, Unova's truths and ideals. Humans are everywhere, yet the lore teases a deeper past. Mewtwo's creation in the first movies and games points to human labs experimenting on Pokémon ancestry. Mew itself, hidden in Guyana's jungles or faraway island, is called the progenitor, but its origins? A blank slate. What if Mew isn't just some ancient Pokémon, but the last genetic echo of a human-Pokémon fusion era from the Mystery Dungeon timeline, chain of events unfolding across eons? Long before Ash ever threw his first Pokeball, the PMD world endured cycle after cycle of catastrophe. Humans arrived, maybe as explorers, scientists, or refugees from another rift, building labs amid unknown ruins, tampering with time and space. They coexisted with Pokémon until hubris unleashed the big one. A paradox event, perhaps the planet's tear in Super, or Primal Dialga's temporal meltdown. Reality fractures. Mystery dungeons bloom as scars, spewing aggressive Pokémon corrupted by distortion energy. Humans unable to adapt either transform permanently, like the protagonists, flee through dimensional gates, or perish in the collapse. The few who linger become legend, their tech repurposed into Kanto's Silph Co. prototypes or Cinnabar Island facilities. Mew emerges here as the bridge. Fan theories align perfectly with scattered canon hints. In PMD, ancient humans could have bioengineered Mew from fossilized DNA or rift-spawned essences, preserving their legacy in a single, mythical being. Mew's psychic powers, remnants of human experimentation with telepathy and transformation, echoing how PMD heroes shift forms. Its ability to learn any move, a safeguard against future distortions, coded from Time Gear essences. Then the Exodus completes the loop. Surviving humans retreat to pocket dimensions or parallel worlds, explaining why mainline games have them as trainers without the amnesia curse. The Pokémon world stabilizes. Mystery dungeons seal over millennia, leaving only faint echoes. The ruins of Alph, the Sinjo ruins, Mew's jungle hideaway. PMD isn't separate, it's the prehistory that birthed the canon we love. But why does Game Freak bury this goldmine? Why no official timeline linking Red Rescue Team to Sword and Shield? It's deliberate, and it's genius. Mystery Dungeon thrives as an emotional powerhouse, not a lore textbook. Each game hits you in the gut with personal stakes. In Explorers, you're not decoding timelines, you're racing against your own erasure, begging Grovyle for forgiveness as the world freezes. Gates to Infinity crushes you with isolation. Your partner turns on you amid crumbling heavens. Super, every Pokémon you befriend might sacrifice themselves in a heartbreaking finale. These stories weaponize vulnerability. You feel the amnesia, the betrayal, the triumph of friendship. Exposition would dilute that. Imagine Explorers pausing for a 20-minute cutscene on human origins. It'd kill the pace, turn tears into yawns. Game Freak knows this. Mainline Pokémon hides lore too. Arceus' creation in Sinnoh comics, the War of Kalos, Eternatus' otherworldly invasion. They drip feed through Pokédex entries, anime side plots, manga deep cuts. PMD follows suit, treating continuity as optional flavour. Cameos in Super, like the rescue team heroes as statues, wink at fans without demanding homework. Developers like those at Chunsoft and Spike Chunsoft prioritise replayable dungeons and heartstring tugs over a rigid canon bible. It's a game changer. Emotion over exposition means universal appeal. Kids bond with Pikachu's loyalty, adults chase the mythos. No need to reconcile every dungeon layout or partner dialogue when the core message, friendship saves worlds, lands every time. You might wonder, does this hold water? Let's test it against hard evidence. Take Mew's official lore. In Pokémon Adventures manga, Mew is cloned from ancient fossils by humans, tying straight to PMD's relic-filled dungeons. The anime's first movie shows Mewtwo raging against human creators in a lab straight out of Gates' post-apocalyptic vibes. Even mainline games nod. Legends Arceus introduces Hisui-era humans with Pokémon in feudal harmony, prefiguring PMD's guild societies. And those mystery dungeons? Absent in mainline, but their distortion mechanics mirror Ultra Space Rifts in Sun and Moon, or the Distortion World in Platinum. It's all connected, just veiled. This prequel theory elevates PMD from cute spin-off to cornerstone mythos. It answers why Mew hides, guardian of the Exodus secret, watching over a world healed from human folly. Why no humans dominate PMD present? They've withdrawn, returning only as amnesiac saviors to nudge history. It reframes every mainline game as the aftermath, where trainers unknowingly uphold the balance PMD heroes forged. Looking ahead, what does this mean for future games? Predictions point to a seismic shift. Game Freak's been teasing multiverse cracks, Legends, ZA promises, Kalos remakes with time travel elements, echoing Explorers. A full PMD trilogy remake on Switch could drop the bombshell. An epilogue bridging to Kanto, confirming the timeline. Or Legends. Arceus sequels might delve into Hisuian mystery dungeons, outing Mew's PMD roots. Multiverse confirmation feels inevitable too. PMD as a divergent branch where humans lost the coexistence war, mainline as the victorious path. Imagine a crossover event. Scarlet and Violet DLC summoning Guildmaster Yu from Rescue Team DX. It'd shatter sales records, validating years of theory crafting. We've uncovered how PMD slots as the ultimate prequel, demystifying Mew and the human vanishing act, while respecting why the lore simmers in shadows. But even with these revelations, one question lingers, pulling us deeper into the enigma. What unbreakable force keeps these cycles spinning eternally? Stick around for Chapter 16, The Eternal Mystery Endures, where we'll confront the one truth that defies every theory and guarantees the dungeons will never truly close. The eternal mystery endures. What if I told you that every Pokémon mystery dungeon game you've ever played isn't just a standalone adventure, but a single unbroken thread in an epic saga spanning eons? That's the power of the unified history we've pieced together. From the fog-shrouded origins of Red and Blue Rescue Team to the time-shattering stakes of Explorers, and onward through Gates to Infinity, Super Mystery Dungeon, and even the polished remake in Rescue Team DX. These stories aren't isolated. They're chapters in a grand cycle of creation, catastrophe, and rebirth. And right now, we're pulling back the veil to reveal how it all connects. Let's rewind to the dawn of it all, that ancient era where humans and Pokémon walked side by side. Picture vast civilizations thriving under shared skies, their labs humming with forbidden experiments, relics etched with unowned script, whispering secrets of the universe. These weren't fairy tales. They're hinted at in the ruins you scour in every game. Those crumbling structures, deep in dungeons that feel too precise, too engineered to be natural. Fans have long speculated, and the clues align perfectly. Humans, with their ingenuity, tampered with forces beyond comprehension, forging alliances with legendary Pokémon, building wonders that bent time and space. But hubris breeds downfall. A cataclysm struck, a rift torn open by misused power, perhaps a clash among gods like Dialga and Palkia, or a curse from some primordial evil. Humans vanished in an instant, erased from history, their cities swallowed whole. Reality itself fractured, birthing the mystery dungeons as we know them, those ever-shifting labyrinths of chaos. No longer stable landscapes, but pulsating wounds in the fabric of the world, leaking distortions that twist Pokémon feral and aggressive. Why do they change every time you enter? Why do items vanish and floors rearrange? It's no glitch, it's the echo of that ancient tear, space-time refusing to heal. Centuries grind on, and Pokémon rise from the ashes. Societies bloom, towns like Pokémon Square in Rescue Team or Treasure Town in Explorers take shape. Guilds form, rescue teams assemble, a new order built on friendship and grit. Yet the scars remain. Legends of vanished humans fade to myth. Relics become treasures to hoard, and dungeons lurk as eternal threats. This is the world you awaken into as the protagonist, a human hurled across dimensions, your memories stripped away to protect you from the truth. Now watch how the games slot into this timeline, like gears in a cosmic clock. Red and Blue Rescue Team kicks it off around what we'd call the early modern era. You're the amnesiac human Pokémon, teaming with a partner to fend off natural disasters spawned by those unstable dungeons. Kabutops and Aerodactyl rampage from the depths, earthquakes split the land, meteors rain down. It's the first tremor of a larger quake, the world's way of crying out from its wounds. Fast forward, and explorers of time, darkness and sky plunge us deeper. Time gears stolen, paralysis grips the planet, future wastelands bleed into the present. Primal Dialga, corrupted by temporal decay, leads the charge. This isn't random villainy, it's the cataclysm's aftershock, time itself unraveling because those ancient rifts weaken the gears holding it together. You and your partner aren't just explorers. You're restorers, piecing back the fragile balance. Grovel from the future? He's a survivor of one cycle's collapse, risking paradox to avert the next. Gates to Infinity shifts to Post Town, a fractured realm where bitterness festers. Bitter Cold, born from Pokémon despair, threatens oblivion. But notice the cameos, the nods to prior heroes woven in. It's not coincidence, it's continuity. Super Mystery Dungeon escalates to godly war, 7 sages unleashing legendaries in a bid for sterile perfection. Link between worlds, distortions everywhere, your partner vanishing into the void. And Rescue Team DX, that remake isn't nostalgia bait, it's a retelling, preserving the foundational cycle while hinting at endless loops. See the pattern? Repeated cycles of catastrophe and restoration. Each game marks a new iteration. Distortions flare. A human avatar arrives with amnesia to guide the restoration. Legendaries intervene. Balance teeters back. Memory loss isn't plot convenience. It's a safeguard, ensuring you fight unburdened by the full horror. Sacrifice themes? Your partner in Explorers turning to stone, or the expulsion in Gates echoes the great vanishing of humans. Friendship triumphs, but at a cost, history partially erased each time, legends muddled, ready for the next loop. This unified mythos transforms your fragmented playthroughs into something monumental. That grind through endless dungeon floors in Red Rescue Team. It was forging the first great rescue legacy, stabilizing a newborn world. Those heart-pounding Time Gear quests, halting the second unraveling, Super's Sage Showdown, thwarting a reset that could have wiped the slate clean. No more standalone tales, it's an epic saga of resilience, where every Pikachu partner, every guildmaster, every relic unearthed contributes to the eternal struggle. You've been playing history in motion, unwitting guardians in a war against entropy. But here's where it gets personal and urgent. You hold the key to keeping this mystery alive. Dive back into those dungeons yourself. Boot up Explorers of Sky and hunt the hidden chambers. Decipher the Unknown script in Spinder's Cafe. In Super Mystery Dungeon, chase every side quest, collect those cryptic relics that scream ancient tech. Rescue Team DX shines with enhanced clarity, revealing details the originals buried. Uncover the labs in Buried Relics, the glyphs hinting at human hands. Screenshot the anomalies, catalogue the inconsistencies. What if that glowing orb in a level 50 dungeon is a shard from the Cataclysm? Your runs could unearth the proof that ties it all. And don't stop at pixels, demand more from the creators. Pokémon Company, Game Freak, Chunsoft, whoever holds the lore keys, we need that official deep dive. A timeline graphic, developer interviews spilling the beans on dungeon origins, a new game bridging the gaps. Petition on forums, flood socials, with the PM'd unified lore. Share your relic hauls on Reddit's R Mystery Dungeon. You've felt the pull of those cycles in your chest. During every boss fight, every partner farewell. Now channel it, make them listen. Imagine an art book, a documentary, hell, a full PMD Chronicle spin-off, mapping the eons. The fans built this mythos. Official eyes on it could make it canon. Think about your own playthroughs. That time you pushed through 99 floors of Western Cave. Partner at 1 HP, only to find a mystery part or joy seed. Was that random? Or a whisper from the cycle, testing your resolve? Every choice you make, every team you build, echoes the heroes before you. You're not just playing, you're participating in the saga's weave. Yet the deepest twist lingers. What if your playthrough, right now, is seeding the next cycle? That save file gathering dust, your custom team forgotten in the annals of your console, could be the legend recalled in some future game's cameo. The amnesia you grant your protagonist, it mirrors the world's selective forgetting. Push too far, uncover one too many relics, and maybe you'll trigger a distortion yourself. A new rift calling forth the next human soul. The mystery endures because we sustain it, cycle after cycle, player after player. We've journeyed from isolated games to this towering epic, but the true revelation hits now. This isn't forgotten history. It's living, breathing, waiting for you to claim it. The dungeons shift, the gears turn, humans fade and return. You've seen the pattern. Now what will you do with it? The eternal mystery endures, but only as long as we chase it. Grab your team, step into the unknown, and let's make sure the saga never ends. Hold on, because the final piece that binds every cycle, every theory, every dungeon crawl into unbreakable truth is closer than you think. It's the one revelation that redefines not just PMD, but your place in it forever. Stay with me.